And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
We're talking Giants every day. From McCovey Cove to the Oracle Park lights, Eric and Glenn keep the fire burning bright, fighting for the glory, no matter what it costs us, breaking down the moments from the wins to the losses. Giant Sports Talk, we're here for the ride. Eric and Glenn with the fan base pride, talking dreams, will they contend? But we'll back the Giants till the very end. Let's go, Giants! Yes, yes, yes! Oh! Eric and Glenn breaking it down, all Giants all the time.
All right, we're at Giant Sports Talk Live.
Big day.
How about that? Guys, welcome back. We had a little special earlier this morning with the breaking news. Bob Melvin has been let go by the San Francisco Giants, and now we're back here to talk a little bit about what do we got going here in the future. And we have a special guest. We got Lou. What's up, Lou? Lou's coming in to come and join the conversation with us. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun, guys.
Hey, Eric, you know this is a special day in Giant Sports Talk history. According to, I just went back in my diary. If I had a diary, I open it up, and it was a year ago today. You and I did a 12-hour show.
Hey, how about that? How
a year
about
ago
that?
today. 12
How about
hours.
Is that
I don't think I can handle 12 hours with Lou, though. I don't know about you, Eric.
We did, yeah, Lou. I don't know if you remember, we did 12 hours when Farhan
got fired.
Yeah, that was pretty damn cool.
That was a one-off because I am never freaking doing that again.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, I see a lot of guys. Appreciate the support, you guys out there. Robert, I see you out there from St. Louis. He's joining us all the way from St. Louis. A lot of guys in there, man. It's awesome. We're going to try to get to as many as your guys' chats and comments as possible. We got 3 guys here on the board today, so there's going to be a lot of talking going on.
Let's remind everybody, too, if there's new guys jumping in, hit the like and subscribe and notification bell because we're going to be doing impromptu shows during the playoffs. And one thing to the new guys that come in, you can join us every night. We don't just pack it in like the players, pack up our locker, Eric. We stick around playoffs, all postseason, and we will be covering all of your teams in the postseason. Hopefully they are there, unlike ours.
There you go. All right. Glenn, I've already talked to you about Bob Melvin. We haven't had a chance to hear Lou. Lou, what did you think of the news coming out of this morning around 10 o'clock or so that the Giants have let go one Bob Melvin?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for having me as my other side job. They're off tonight, so I appreciate being here. You know what? I was a little shocked. As a couple guys said, I didn't think Buster had the balls, so I stand corrected. A lot of times, people, when they say their thoughts, if they're wrong, they never admit it. They just run to the hills. But, hey, it happened today, and I thought it was I thought it should have happened. I didn't think they were going to bring him back. I didn't know. You know how they have the things in NFL? It's the Black Monday today. They've had 2 managers go, and I know we'll talk more about the other one. I didn't think it was going to happen so quickly. I thought maybe 48 hours, 72, but I'm glad it's over with. We don't have to worry about it. We can start. And I think, personally, I think probably it'll happen probably the break between the playoffs and the World Series. We'll find out who it is. I think Buster probably has 3 guys in mind. And, as a rule, you can't announce anything or talk to people that are in the playoffs until they're eliminated. So It's one of those things. But, I never really liked Melvin for a couple of reasons. I thought he still managed too much like an American League team. And I haven't really liked him since back in maybe 14 and 13 when he was with the A's. And I didn't like him too because San Diego basically was happy with a great team to get rid of him. And I think, from our past, one of his biggest downfalls is the way he worked the bullpen. And I'm not saying our bullpen, especially the last third of the season, was easy. But I think too many times he left him in an extra batter, an extra pitch, which, when you looked at it, probably cost us maybe 5 games. And if we win half those games, we're maybe in the playoffs. It's a big difference. And, I think where the Giants are so close, but yet so far away from the playoffs, all those little situations add up, running situations, keeping them defense, running the bases wrong, can't get bunts down. All those add up. And if you look at most of the teams that are in there, they didn't have those problems. Like the Mets, who couldn't do anything, they're eliminated. The Giants, they're eliminated. If you look, the Reds got hot when it counted. Cleveland, who was out 13 games, got hot when it counted. They did all the little things, and that's really where I think Melvin, he had certain players, but you could just feel I thought it was sort of almost like the Giants were great first half, third of the season, disastrous, that's 40%. And then the last part of the season, it was so up and down. Yeah. I feel bad. It was just one of those things where I think it had to be done. And I think when you go off yesterday, what are the players going to say? We like him. Of course they're going to say that because you never know. Exactly. He might manage somewhere else in 5 years. You don't want to, do a dark skin and go to a manager that you basically threw under the bus.
Right.
I just thought today's press conference was very vanilla, but that's what Buster could do because he doesn't want to let other people out. But overall, being a fan, being a season ticket holder, I think it had to be done, and I'm glad it's over with.
Hey.
Pretty good take.
And I think, Lou, I think you're spot on. The inconsistency of the season is with the downfall of Bob Melvin. And it seemed like, and I've said this before, Ibrahim, he brought this up to my attention too. It's when there was pressure on the team to do something, they failed. When there is no pressure on the team, they seem to succeed. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but that's a great point because I think that was part of why Bob Melvin was let go because, hey, look, and look, this is a little window into what Buster Posey wants. Guys, a little bit later, I got the John Shea's article, and we could kind of go through that a little bit about you kind of get an insight on what Buster Posey wants in his manager. But we're seeing Buster Posey is demanding, and that's good. Look, we really didn't see that, and I think we're starting to see it now. He has goals that he wants to attain for the club, and those goals weren't met. And sometimes you cannot fix those until the end of the season, and now we're seeing it. He's like, hey, yes, he's a great guy. The players were behind him. And to your point, Lou, yeah, the players aren't going to talk bad about him. But there was no sense that there was a disconnect in the clubhouse. But at the same token, he wasn't able to lead the team to the goals that Buster Posey didn't or wanted. And look, and it's results oriented. And if you can't get those results, well, unfortunately, even though you're a nice guy, hey, you're going to have to see the door. And again, nothing personally against Bob Melvin. It's just he just maybe wasn't the fit. And now, again, this kind of goes along. I don't mean to go long here. It was an inventory year for Buster Posey. He wanted to see both players and also his manager and coaches. Let's see what these guys got because, look, his hands were already full last year. He just came in, right? He got hired in October. Shortly thereafter, you're in your off season. You don't want to have to rebuild everything from scratch right off the rip. So he gave it that time, if you want to say due diligence, and now he's made his decision, and now we're going to go forward. The only thing I hope, Lou, and I'll ask you this too, about the way forward, where do you think Buster Posey goes? I want him to get a guy that's going to be here for a while. I don't want a stopgap. Look, Lou, over the last 4 years, we've had 3 managers. No. Yes, 3 managers, right? Yeah. Bochy, Kapler, Melvin. We've had 2 Pobos, Farhan and Buster Posey. We got to get some consistency here, and
I completely agree. Right? And I think one thing I'm excited about is this is going to be Buster's pick. None of the other 3 were Buster's picks. So this is going to be his manager. So I think, we keep coming up with the same names. I've seen the same names. You brought up, Wotus, because I watched your thing today. I think we don't know who it is. We could probably do a top 3-5 list. I think that there's somebody that he sees that could be the future of baseball. Someone a little bit younger than, someone like, Melvin, who's been in the game forever. Because I don't think a lot of these guys, Bochy, Wotus, Melvin, they haven't really adapted to the new baseball. Baseball has changed since the Giants last made the playoffs in 2016. Okay. And I think one of the things what Buster's doing too is it's going to be his call. If you realize the 3 managers, all the changes, really it was more Larry Baer and his staff. Larry Baer is the one that wanted Farhan. And I think Buster said, hey, if you guys are going to put me in charge, I'll give you 1 year, right? Because he easily could have got Melvin, because that was part of the Farhan regime, out last year. And he goes, then it's my call. Do we have an agreement? Yes. Well, it failed. So now it's all Buster. I also think, as you brought up before, they didn't spend as much money because now they're under the tax thing. Buster's going to do whatever it takes to win. And don't be surprised, guys, that our opening day roster might look maybe familiar, but halfway during the season, we might have 12 to 14 new players that are on the team as of right now. I am expecting a big difference in our team, the bullpen, a lot of our coaches. And I think, we got to bring up a whole new attitude, because what I really liked about the conference today, and he brought it up 6 times, the fans. Yes. The fans. I think too many times, especially with our ownership, we know it's not about the fans. It's about what's behind the ballpark, what's behind the bridge. It's all about real estate. And Buster's saying, guys, the Giants, they did $3.2 million, whatever we did. We got to give the fans a winning product no matter what. Let's forget about what's behind us, and they're going to be behind us. Let's give them a winning product. And if that means maybe some of our guys that a lot of our chat and fans love, I'm just saying maybe the big 5, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe 1 or 2 of them are gone, because Buster needs to make it his team, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get us in the playoffs. As we know, guys, with the new playoff system, we've never made the wild card. The only time in 2021 we won the division, but we weren't a wild card. I mean, baseball has done whatever it can to let teams like the Giants
to get in there,
and we haven't responded. So now he's saying, boom. And I'll tell you this. Here's the other thing. If we do play baseball in 27 and Buster brings his own guy on in 2028 after giving 3 years, being so proud, he'll probably go, you know what? This job isn't for me. I've tried 3 years. I've given 2 different managers. It's not working. He's proud enough to say, guys, I'm wrong, but let's give him to that time, because I think a lot of his decisions, as you said, Eric, he was feeling out the process. I think the one thing, too, is we think Buster as a ball player, being baseball operations is completely different. It's sort of like him when he was at Florida State, where he played all 9 positions, and he had to decide, where am I going to go? Right? People forget he was a shortstop. The Giants only got him as a catcher because of who his agent was. We got lucky to get him, and I think now he's like, all right, hey, my reputation is on the line. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I want a winning product, and I want to be proud. As I think the one thing we've sort of lacking in the Bay, and especially in San Francisco, it's a Giants town. The A's are gone. The 49ers are gone. We have no competition. Let's make San Francisco great again, and I think that's where he's striving for.
And Lou, real quick, Glenn, I'll get right to here. The last 2 games, the game that I went with you and Ibrahim, and we saw Marty, and then the game I went to with Ryan, on Friday, the fans were out in droves. I mean, the support. And this is after the Giants have been eliminated. And the fan base were behind the team. And I think Buster Posey saw this. And you know what else he saw? He saw the Reds got in with 83 wins. What the? Right? 83 wins. I mean, in the beginning of the season, we thought it was going to be 89, maybe even 90 wins to get that third wild card. 83 wins is all it took. And the Giants couldn't get that done. I got a feeling that probably sat in a Buster Posey's craw. And he probably didn't like it. It's unacceptable, right? Glenn, what say you?
I agree.
Well, I'm just thinking a lot of the things that Lou said are bang on. And like we talked about last night on the Hot Corner, for all you guys who were here, not to get into a deep rehash of it, but Bob Melvin.
We're getting
Bob
there.
Melvin failed. And just what you said, Eric, this wild card spot, call a spade, this wild card was served up to us on a silver platter. 13 games over 500, great start, the best preseason team. Things were rolling along. What the hell went wrong? They traded for Devers, and then it just no disrespect to Devers, because look what he did. But come on, this team went backwards at times. Bob had to go. There was no moving forward with him the way. And if anybody out there is like, hey, they should have, and there were, they'll disappear now. Don't kid yourself. I don't see them out there tonight. There were guys saying, oh, I give them another year. Well, that means you are complacent and you love 500 baseball, because that's all they do this year. They did it last year. It has been a habitual product for the San Francisco fans. 500 baseball. 500 baseball, Eric, doesn't get it done. And like you said to me on one of the shows just in the last couple of days, I think you might have mentioned it on our show this morning with the breaking news that developed, that the San Francisco Giants had an opportunity after the deal with Devers. But I got to ask you something. What happened? Do you think Buster packed it in? Like, we were playing for a wild card spot, but he broke up that bullpen. We had no closer, no setup guy, and I thought he was one of the best setup guys in all of Major League Baseball. And so the fact we didn't get in, I think not getting in could be, what do you think, Lou? I think getting in would have been a detriment. I think now it shows everybody, hey, we don't have a playoff team. I think it would have set us back even further if we had have made the playoffs.
I think with Farhan over the last 3 years, and I know Dan thought, and I assume you and Eric go over this, I don't think they thought they had a winning team. And let's do something, because the last 3 years, they never made a move at all to improve the team. They never got rid of guys that, were now, again, Duvall would have been here regardless, but Rogers is going to be a free agent, right? So you got to get something for him, because you're not sure.
There
over
you
the
go.
last 3 years, we've been all over. God, they didn't make a move. He didn't do anything for Snell.
Lou, last year's trade deadline, I think that's what you're alluding to. Last year's trade deadline was a catastrophe.
Yep.
Catastrophe. Well, the last
I think this was sort of a 50-50, because I don't think the Giants were good enough, right? And they said, let's do something since we haven't done anything. And what's sort of funny is they did something and it backfired, because we knew this year, by the last month of the season, our bullpen was a disaster. We had a closer that nobody wants, who literally the last 3 or 4 appearances got destroyed, lost a crucial game when he should have done it. We had guys that you've never, ever heard of, except for McDonald. I never heard of him, right, when his first start. We had guys that you're going, my God, we got from a trade. We got this. I think it was a blessing in disguise, because I think with Buster now, after the first year, we have probably a baker's dozen 4A players. It's okay when you have 4, maybe at the end of the bench, but you can't have half your team as guys that are 4A players. You got to get guys that are going to be there 162 games. It's hard. Nobody plays 162 in the minors. You don't do it. It's a lot different. The pressure, and I think maybe, we bought up Eldridge last night on the Hot Corner, because I was sort of like, I thought this guy was the creme of
Right.
the creme. Now, I know he's new,
Right.
but we forced him because of an injury, because of what
Yes.
Glenn says. Our depth was a disaster. So a lot of our guys that we have on our team are only there because we need people that can fill their butts on our bench. You know, most of the guys don't belong there. But speaking of the question, I think they did what they thought they could. I thought they should have done more. You know, if you saw Ray, the second half of the season, disaster. He was like 2-9 with an ERA of 5. You know, now he's going to come back and he has 1 year left. They're going to have to make a major decision. If you're going to get rid of 2 of your guys, especially how hot pitching was, I thought they should have gone all in. Keep Webb, but you could have traded Ray. You could have got other guys. Because literally at the trade deadline, I think the Giants admitted we weren't good enough to make it, and then it came back and it backfired.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
just me.
guys, let's talk about this now. News broke not that long ago, guys, that the Texas Rangers have decided to move on from Bruce Bochy. All right. So now, you know, there was already talk about maybe bringing Bochy back. Now that it's official that Bochy will not be back as the manager for the Texas Rangers, they offered him a position in the front office. Whether or not he wants to do that or not, I know that John Shea had reached out to him, said he would love to talk to Buster.
Do you think that's playing it safe, though, Eric?
I tell you what. I'll tell you what it is.
We're putting the band back together.
There you go. There you go. That is what may happen. Look, I hope it doesn't. Honestly, I think that's the wrong move. I love Bruce Bochy, Hall of Fame manager, right? He's still a hell of a manager, but that is not the direction that the Giants need to go.
I don't think so.
Look, I'm going to read this a little bit later, but John Shea talks about it in his article. He wants a manager obsessive about work, right? Obsessive about work. I don't think Bruce Bochy is the guy that's going to be obsessive about work. Look, I'm not saying that he's a bad manager. First and foremost, I just don't think he's the right answer. Look, we had our memories. He was a fantastic Giant. He brought 3 world championships to the city of San Francisco, and he will always be loved for that. But come on.
But you made a good point earlier with me, Eric, and I think you were talking to Lou about it too. The other angle is you bring back Bruce Bochy. What did he say in his press conference today? I'm in it to win. And maybe he brings that instant managerial ability. You're not going to, we're going to try somebody. We're going to develop somebody. I'm bringing in a guy I know who will at least get the job done. Does he go that route? But then again, the other angle, my side of it is you bring him in now, Eric, like you said, it's old school. It's playing it safe. And I mean, how long are you going to bring him in for? I mean, he's no spring chicken. Are you going to bring him in? Oh, he's not going to be here 10, 15 years, Eric. Like, this is a long-term deal we're talking about.
Exactly.
So what angle do you think they should go? Lou,
I got a question for you, too. If you're married and your wife cheats on you and she makes and kicks you out of the house and does what she wants, would you come back 5 years later and give her another chance?
Good point. Good point.
It's the point I made to you earlier today, Eric. They showed him the door.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't care what Alex says. They booted him. And again, if it was
That's
different ownership, it was all Larry Bear. They wanted Farhan. You got to remember, when they said it was his last year, it wasn't like, hey, he was retiring. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to do, because of your things, we're going to have a grand final thing. They never did that. I don't care what Alex, Susan, remember, these guys work for the Giants. They're never going to tell you the truth, some of our writers. They kicked them out. They didn't care about the championships at all. You know, he was the CEO of the team. He was amazing. He's a Hall of Famer. But they basically said, you know what? Your time is done. Thanks. And if I were Bruce, with my pride, I wouldn't want to come back now. That's as manager. If they want to bring him an advisory role,
special advisor, yeah,
where maybe he can pick the next manager because the Giants have been wrong with the last 2, I have no problem with that. But you got to remember,
Ooh.
being a manager, it's tough. You know, it's not like
It ain't easy.
in Major League, Lou, who's doing white walls, and he gets a call, you know, doing a car tire thing. It's a job that literally takes 10 months of your time, you know. And plus,
It's not a 9 to 5. It's not
No.
a 9 to 5.
And plus, Bochy doesn't need to do it. He's not desperate enough. You know, he's married to a beautiful young lady. He has grandkids. I could just see him saying, hey, it's my time. I tried my best with Texas. And, you know, you don't even know. Maybe he got talked into doing a Texas for somebody else, maybe his wife. You know, you don't know. I think he's going to retire and just, you know, go out to
And
the
if I'm not
sunset.
mistaken,
And
he lives in
deserves that.
Nashville. Right? He lives in Nashville. It's pretty close to, you know, at least Texas is fairly close
Yeah.
to compared to California. So
Yeah.
look here, let's
So,
here. Let me bring
I
this
think
up,
it's
guys.
just coincidence because they both got fired on the same day. But you got to remember, probably in the next 3 or 4 days, there'll be at least 2 or 3 more managers, and then we're going to be bringing up the same topic again.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. All right, let's break this down again. If you guys look down in the description in this video, I linked John Shea's article to the San Francisco Standard. You guys could go read it at your pleasure. But let's take a look at what he's talking about as far as potential picks. Here we go with the Bochy. This is Buster Posey when they ask him about Bochy's status. It says he can't speak to that. Well, late on Monday, here it is. Bochy and the Rangers mutually agreed to separate, making the veteran skipper a free agent. John Shea reached out to Bochy, said he have a conversation with what that could consist of. Could it be, as I use that little clip, putting a band back together? Who knows? But we also talked. Here it is. Mark Hallberg. I got a feeling. Look, Mark Hallberg has been part of both regimes under Farhan and also Buster. So in the future, I don't think it's going to be now, but I got a feeling that Mark is going to be part of this organization going forward. And maybe he becomes a future manager down the line, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the bench coach. We'll see what happens. But here it is. Buster, in his news conference, he talked about keeping his names tight. All right, here we go. There are plenty of possible candidates. Skip Schumacher seems to be the biggest guy right now. Again, he was a skipper for the Marlins, had some success. Now he's been an advisor for the Rangers and is lined up to succeed Bochy. Now, here's the problem. Let's talk about that one first. Skip Schumacher, look, he's from all intents and purposes, it sounds like he's a pretty good manager. He's young. He's got a guy you could stick with for a while. But the problem is, can the Giants lure him away from the Texas Rangers since he has been associated with that organization? Because
What was the last line you read in that article? Look at the last line you read in the article. He's the heir apparent to Bochy. Where's Bochy? Not there anymore.
Exactly. So it frees a spot. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you be opposed to Skip Schumacher? I don't think I would be. I wouldn't mind having him. He's got managerial experience. And look, and I think both of you might agree here. Posey is going to find a guy that has some type of managerial experience, maybe not a manager, but has his fingers in it, because the way the team is right now, he wants to win. He talked about it. Blue, at the same time he was talking about the fans, he in the same statement, he's talking about he wants to be in the playoffs. The fans deserve it. The city deserves it. So that's where we could start now. I don't think it's going to be any novice. I don't think it's going to be a person that doesn't have any experience in the MLB. I got a feeling that's the direction that we're heading.
Now with the pieces they got in place, Eric, I think they got to go out and get a guy who's, I told you, a little bit on the younger side is fine, but he's got to be somebody who garners respect with the pieces they've already got there.
Sure, yeah.
And I said earlier, if I'm the guy coming in, unlike Kim Ng I brought up earlier, I'm saying to Buster, all right, if this is my team, it's my team. I set the lineup. I call the shots. I work with the players. This team is under my thumb. We'll have my thumbprint on it. And it cannot be, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Correct. Right. Lou, what you think?
Well, I'm going to actually say something. I've seen this twice on the in the chat. Okay. So you're Skip. Who would you rather manage next year? being in the American League West or the National League West?
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay. So you got to remember, Texas, best player was injured half the season. They also have money they're going to spend. And you got to remember, Houston's on their way down. Now, Seattle's, hey, they got a chance to win the whole thing, but they have 3 free agents. You don't know if they're going to sign them. And then you have the Oakland A's. So being a Texas Ranger, would you rather compete against them or the mighty Dodgers, the Padres, and Arizona?
That's a good point.
And would you rather go to California or would you rather stay home in Texas that you're used to? So I think it's wise. And, Skip's a name that people know of. But you got to remember, just like all our free agents, there are other teams that also want these players.
That's fair.
And the Giants right now is not a destination. So you got to think the whole entire everything about it. Texas, if Skip's the manager, say, would you rather coach 5 years for $25 million where there's no sales tax in Texas? Or would you rather go 5 years, $25 million where you're paying taxes up the yin yang and you're really making, 12.5, over 5 years. So you got to think about this. And most importantly, Skip's married. Do his kids want to leave after being in Texas for so long?
That
plays a lot, because when you're married, it's now a family decision, not you. And it's not like you have a choice. What do you want to do? And it's got to be an all-around choice. So I think Skip, I think it's great, but you got to really see who, if you have both teams and they're both healthy, who has a chance to go to the playoffs next year?
Eric, somebody brought up a good point in the chat there. Insane Sports says, Eric Glenn Lou, is he going to consider Devers, Webb, Adames, and Chapman's opinion when picking the next manager? He may listen, but it's going to be Buster's decision.
It's Buster's decision.
Sorry, Insane.
It's going to be Buster's. Does he want to get input? Absolutely. But the buck stops with Buster Posey.
The inmates don't run the asylum.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't the NBA, because I know you might be able to get away with that with the NBA. But as far as baseball, no. I think Buster Posey, I think he's pretty adamant in what he wants. And he's going to make the decision he wants. So, but there you go. Skip Schumacher. And again, Senior talks about, I guess he's from California. That could play a factor. If he's from California, maybe, he might want to come back. Who knows though? But to lose point, geography plays a huge part in people's decisions. Do you want to uproot your family? If you got a family, do you want to go to the West Coast? Do you want to stay in Texas? All that is going to play. And look, he's already in place in Texas, so there may be a comfort level, but we'll just have to see if Buster Posey can sway. All right, let's see. What do we got next here?
Lou is always Mr. Salty, Eric, but I got to be negative on this one last chat. Posey should be changing the mindset when it comes to coming to San Francisco. I think he's changing the way guys think of the franchise.
Okay.
I think it's way too early to say that. This, again, is another 500 team who failed miserably in many facets, Eric. I don't see Lou might have made the comment, was it you, Lou, last night, that said, we're worse this right now than we were a year ago. So I wouldn't exactly say that they've changed the landscape of a destination. San Francisco. I don't think we're near that. You can't even bring that up yet.
Well, we'll see. With players seeing how Buster Posey works, because look, the players are going to talk. Devers has friends. Adames has friends.
Yeah, Chapman had friends. He was going to talk. And who did he actually bring in this year? I'm still waiting to figure that out.
I hear you. But here's the difference. Buster Posey's already had 1 year. So now there's a different conversation happening, because there was a question mark. Would Buster Posey be able to do this job as a president of baseball operations? It's the first time ever him doing this. And now that he's had a full year and people have talked, look, there could be something. There could be something there. Maybe it might be attractive. Now, you know what's always attractive? Something that's the color green. You pay a man. And look, more times than not, if you are the highest bidder, more times than not, you're going to get your guy. Whether or not the Giants have ever been, well, you could say that. Carlos Correa, offered the most, and he decided to come here. Well, they got a little weird, and it didn't go through. But hey, Adames came here. Adames could very well have gone to wherever he wanted, but he came to San Francisco. So again, there could be something. Is it a I don't want to say destination. Is it on top of people's list? Maybe not, but I think it's starting to get there. Let's see what happens, and then we'll go from there. But here, let's look at this. If Posey wants to go younger, you could consider Nick Hundley. Matter of fact, I saw him on Friday for the Willie Mack. Mark DeRosa, I see a lot of people talking about Mark DeRosa, former Giant.
He's knowledgeable. He's
right?
so knowledgeable.
He's got knowledge. He's got knowledge. There's no doubt about it. He's managed the World Baseball Classic. Greg Albernaz, Giants coach under Kapler. And then he was an assistant under Vogt. Brandon Hyde, who was let go from the Orioles, is out there. George Lombard Sr., Tigers bench coach. Luis Rojas, son of the Giants legend Felipe Alou, who managed the Mets and is now a Yankees coach. And then you got to worry about the Sealy rules. So there's going to be, you got to require time to consider a diverse pool of candidates to include the manager. So now we got a bunch of names out there. And I know I see people in the chat. Mark DeRosa seems to be a big one. Skip Schumacher's a big one. Lou, do you have a preference or a prediction of what you think?
I don't want any of those guys that you nominated. I want a difference maker. I want someone that's going to take us from 80 wins, between 85 and 90, and 2 years under the rim. We're a playoff team. I think the biggest problem is we have too many egos, and we need someone like Bochy, but a little bit younger, that's going to gain the respect. I think one of the things maybe we might have to get somebody, and I'm trying to say this the right way, that speaks their language. You know, I think too many times Melvin, to me, is like an old Caucasian doing the job, right? Mm-hmm. These guys are young guys. A lot of times you watch, I don't know if Melvin speaks Spanish or Portuguese or some of these other things, because that's what I saw being a fan. And, you know, when we sit in our seats, you see it. You know, Melvin's all the way over, and these guys are all talking. They're all talking Spanish. They're all high-fiving. And, you know, that's just the way it is. So I think a lot of these guys are good names, but I just don't see – remember, this is San Francisco Giants, probably one of the top 5 destinations to manage. Well, then we got to get somebody of that, right? Now, again, Bochy, I think he's off in the sunset. You know, I think we need someone that I almost want to say reminds me of who was the guy with the Cubs that took him to the World Series?
Madden.
No. Beside Madden, I'm talking about the GM, the young kid that was
Epstein.
Yeah, like an Epstein of managers. So I think the Giants also realized they missed out last year, right, on possibly 2 guys. But when you look at Cleveland, they have one of the great ones, right? They're not going to right now, he's the hottest manager out there. He's done unbelievable things. The Giants wish they would have got him last year, but they didn't, so they got to move away. Cincinnati had a problem where they had young talent, and what do? They went to a veteran. A guy on 2 other teams had already taken him to the dance, Cleveland and Boston. So they got to look and see who might be available. They need someone of that's going to gain respect from the moment he walks in. And I thought, you know, just to talk one more thing about Melvin, when Ramos, not once, but twice, got thrown out of third on dumb plays, his reply in the postgame was, well, I have nobody else, so I'm going to put him on the start of the lineup. You can't have that. The guy should have been benched, you know, and all it took is really one time to take him out of the game, bench him, tell him what the hell is your problem, and it wouldn't have happened again. You know, same thing with him in left field. You need someone like that. And again, it sounds sort of like easy, but when you do that, guys might show up an extra hour early for batting practice. They're going to be able to say, you know what, maybe I'm going to work on my stealing base skills. my bunting skills, those little extra. All we need is 5 wins, but you got to get a guy that's going to gain respect from everybody. Because to tell you the truth, I think all our coaches, we all talked about Matt Williams at third. He was a disaster. I don't know how many games we lost because of him. Melvin keeping the pitchers in too much. I've never seen it where you throw the pitching coach in, and then that guy gets hit, and then you take him out too late. And then, of course, we'll talk about Pat the Bat. I don't think he should have been our hitting coach, but because he was a former Giant, they got to sort of think we need the best in all these things. Sort of like when the CEO takes over a company, right? He takes over. Before he's going to say yes, he's going to put the best guy, the president of the United States, president of international, because it's a reflection on him. So we need to get a guy that's going to bring in great players, and we got to get sort of outside of the Giants' former players. I don't know what it is. It's not working, okay? For the last 10 years, it's not working. So we got to forget about it right now. It's sort of like where managers, everyone wanted the catcher. Matheny, he was good because he was a catcher. Bochy, Melvin. Anyone that maybe wasn't that great, but if they were a catcher, they went in that thing. So we got to think outside the box, and let's start our own trend. As Buster said, I think Buster was personally sort of embarrassed because he thought, hey, I'm Buster Posey. I'm going to take over the team. We're going to make the playoffs. And it didn't happen. So now he's got to start thinking as a businessman. And most importantly is he's one of the owners. So when the Giants aren't making as much money, it's less money in his pocket.
Yep.
So I think personally, we don't know who it is yet. And of the 5 you guys are talking about, I see a guy saying, let's get a guy in college. I'm sorry. This is, it's not NBA. This is baseball.
Yeah,
where,
correct.
I think you got to get a guy too that's going to say, hey, our whole farm system needs something good. I think, you got to bring back someone like David Bell before he became the Cincinnati Reds manager. Run the minors like it was before. When you were here, it was good. You got to get successful on all different divisions of the Giants. And then you got to get a manager that gets respect. And you'll be amazed. Sort of like the Buster juice the first month of the season. Oh, my God. You could feel the difference. And the fans are so hungry because we were spoiled 3 and 5 years, but now it's been over 10 years. This team, if we could just be a 90, if we were to win 90 games this year and we missed the playoffs by 1, I would have been satisfied. But I just feel like we let down in so many different ways. And I think Buster woke up this morning saying, this is ridiculous. I can do this better. And I think he's going to bring somebody in where at first we might go, I don't know. But Buster knows what he's doing, so give him an opportunity. It might be a name where, I don't know, that's, might screech. It might not be something that really sells the tickets. But he's such a brilliant man. Let him do his job. Give him time. And whoever it is, let's embrace him and give him a chance.
Eric, why don't you go around the table? You start. Who do you think is the best choice? Who would you like to see? And who would you say is,
Verboten?
Your 10,000 to 1 long shot?
Oh, as a long shot? Okay, let's do this. I'm on record, and for those of you in the chat, I don't mean to repeat myself. Ron Wotus is the guy that I want. And I know he's been part of the organization, but the guy is a baseball guy. I've had the pleasure of listening to him talk, and man, in person, and the guy is a communicator.
I can agree with you.
He's old school attitude, but he has new school type of understanding of how the game is. You listen to him talk to Marty on the Sundays, and it is an amazing listen. If you want to learn about X's and O's, and on top of that, the guy could be a leader and could communicate. Look what he's done. He was a bench coach under Dusty Baker. He was a bench coach under Felipe Alou. He was a bench coach under Bruce Bochy. The guy has witnessed some incredible managers in the San Francisco Giants era, but he was never given a shot. I would absolutely love to see Ron Wotus. Again, it's going to be up to him whether or not he wants to do that. Because again, to lose point, it's not a 9 to 5. It's long hours. You're on the road. Do you want to be able to do that? Yes,
he the best
Juan
choice?
Rodas is a special advisor to Buster Posey, so he's already with the organization.
Is he
But
the best choice?
I think he's the best choice. Honestly, I think he is.
And do you have a dark horse? Somebody you go.
The dark horse. Look, I saw a couple of people saying it. I'll say the 99.9% chance he doesn't come. Yadier Molina. There's no way he's going to be the St. Louis Cardinals manager.
All
Look,
right.
he came up as a Cardinal. He retired as a Cardinal, and he's going to manage the Cardinal. There is no way. Unless Buster Posey is pulling out some kind of freaking catcher voodoo doll, there is no way that you're going to be and look, would he be a good manager? Look, one thing that I like about Yadier that Lou spoke to, he will speak the language for half of the club, right?
Yep.
Very fluent in Spanish, okay, right? He's from Puerto Rico, so he would be able to do that. But I think he's gonna wind up being a manager for the St. Louis Cardinals. Why would he leave?
I think now I'm going to think outside the box all the way around here. Because one of us, somebody here in the chat, you, me, Lou, somebody's going to hit on it. I think Ron Wotus totally agree.
Yeah.
Would I like to see Mark DeRosa? Yes. Think he brings that fresh attitude. Coached a lot of. I mean, somebody said in our chat earlier today when we did the show, said, what does he know about baseball? He just coached in the World Baseball Classic. There's a lot of big egos there, Eric.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, that's a fact.
And he did well. If you've ever watched him on the MLB Network, I don't think there's anybody better.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
Exceptional.
He's good.
That's who they should. Who would the best guy be? You laughed. You had a giggle today. You know the best guy? It's Buster Posey.
Yeah. Oh, you're going with my scenario. His announcement is, I am hiring myself as manager. I immediately step down as president of baseball operations. So he takes over manager.
You want to show balls? There's the ball. I go, I'm going to run this my way. I'm going to run it. And my long shot. Are you ready?
Let's hear the long shotter.
Lou brought something up earlier. Got me thinking. He said, and Lou would know because they're his seats. But Eric, you and I sat together for a game there just a month ago. And Lou is spot freaking on. Who was just off slightly to our right? Wilmer, Adames, Matos.
Devers.
They're all in one.
Encarnacion.
If you want communication, you know who my long shot would be, Eric? Edgar Martinez.
Ooh, Edgar.
From Seattle.
Wow. Interesting.
Did
not see that one. That one came out of left field. Wow. Lou, who would you like to see?
Boy, I like that one.
Put you on the spot. That was a good one.
You got one of the most underrated DHs of all time. You got a guy that literally had to work hard to be a Hall of Famer. And boy, that's a ringer.
And a lot of people know that he's the DH, right? And one of the best of all time, if not the best
time.
DH.
Yep.
That guy was a hell of a ball player. He was a third baseman for the Seattle Mariners after Jimmy Presley. And he can play ball. He knows ball. He's a Hall of Famer. He's there with Dan Wilson. Look what Dan Wilson has done with the Seattle Mariners. I think Edgar Martinez is just that sneaky little long shot.
He became the hitting coach, right? Towards the end of the year, last year for Seattle. I think he did, right?
Yeah. And he can speak multi-languages.
All right. Let's see. I got to hear what Lee has.
All right. Well, Dan is buttoning up Molina. He's not leaving St. Louis. That's like Buster leaving the Giants to coach the Dodgers. You guys got to remember, a lot of people in the chat, maybe you're too young. There's still a big rivalry between the Cardinals and the Giants.
The Giants, there is.
There was a year where 7 straight years, the team that knocked out the other went to the World Series. So somebody that is basically spit out, sweated blood isn't going to go to the opponents, especially where he's in the organization, and as soon as the manager comes up, he'll probably take over. So I just don't like Molina. I don't think his brother would do it. I personally am thinking outside the box. One of the guys that I think is sort of a long shot, and he could be the guy in 3 or 4 years for saying, God, we should have gone after him. And nobody's even thought of him. I actually brought it up to you guys, and you said, oh, God, Lou, I never even thought of him. Is Will Venable, who took the White Sox job, who, as we all know, Will played for San Diego, but his dad was a former Giant.
Yep.
And he took this White Sox job. And you remember, I know the Cardinals were bad, but they thought the White Sox weren't going to win 40 games this year. And he had them competitive. He took 2 out of 3 against the Giants. He has a young team. He literally just got out of baseball. He's young. He speaks multiple languages. And if you can succeed in Chicago, boy, you now get money and better talent in San Francisco. That could be the 5 to 6 games to get us in the playoffs. And he's young. I think too many times we wait. When we got Buster, people forget it wasn't like Buster was a free agent. We snagged him. We went to San Diego. San Diego had already gone to the World Series a couple years earlier and said, hey, we like him. We want that type of baseball. What will it take to get Buster? So I think, someone like Will Venable, someone we're not talking about. I also think it was Glenn last night. A lot of times managers don't succeed the first time around. As we all know, they just fail and they need a second chance. How about someone like a Don Mattingly, who originally managed a problem with the Giants. He went to the Dodgers, Florida. But you have a great, great guy. Don, he was known as Mr. Baseball for a reason. He's still young. And I think he's one of these guys where, sort of like Buster, when he comes in the dugout, it's automatic respect because he's done it before. I think someone like that. So I'm just going to go off. I don't want to be El Chaco and think of these guys. So I will say Don Mattingly and then Will Venable, who's probably 40 to 1. But I think to get a guy like that, you got to think outside, because the Giants need a lot of work. We all know that. So, speaking of that, why would Bochy want to come here where, why would he want to be manager now, where right now his specialty is the bullpen? Our bullpen's a disaster. Mm-hmm. Our best pitcher is Tommy John. Nobody likes our stopper. You got to remember, a lot of these guys might want to be the manager, but they got to fill out the whole entire situation. We have guys that strike out a lot. We have 2 pitchers. Maybe only 1 if we so you got to think outside that. And, I think when you get a young guy who could be hot now, where in 5 years, who knows? If the White Sox, because they have a great farm system, the White Sox, right? So in 2 years, they make the playoffs. Will's going to be the hottest name out there. Oh, my God, Will Venable. You got to sometimes take a chance where they have a high ceiling. I don't think any of our other guys really were managers that had the high ceiling. I think, Melvin had been around so long, so he was a safe play.
That's
the
fair.
guy, he's 500. So you got to get a guy before he becomes, the manager everyone's out. So, I'm just thinking like that. And, like I said, I think, Donnie Baseball, he didn't learn the first time, but sometimes the second time around, you know what to expect. It's one of those things. So I'll just throw those 2 names out.
Hey, that's the American dream, right? There's always a second chance. You never know.
And to your point,
though, I like this, man. We're going around and we got all different. You got Glenn coming in with Edgar Martinez. You got Lou coming in with Will Venable. Dude, this is what I love about baseball, guys. We sit around here and you just talk about this stuff. We're just talking. Is it going to happen? May not. But this is what I love about baseball. It's about having fun conversations and just quote unquote chewing on the fat.
Lou, do you agree what I said earlier today on the show when we did our morning show, where I would rather, same with the ball club in general, but now that you got to hire a manager, I would be happier inside and as a Giant fan if he went outside the box. If it doesn't work, I would rather that then, like you just touched on, don't play it safe. Don't get me a guy who, well, we hope he can get us in. Don't
like a
it
Bud
safe.
Black. I don't want a Bud Black.
Good
I don't
Lord.
want these guys that
No.
just because they played in the Giants organization, we're going to give them an opportunity. We got to get the best player, available. It's sort
What
of
do you
like
think
how,
about Rocco? Rocco from Minnesota. He got released from Minnesota.
why did he
I
get
don't know.
released? As
Yeah,
I
why
always-
did he get released? Well, I'll tell you
'cause
what,
again,
though.
there's a lot out there where
There's issues with Minnesota, though. They
I agree
sold
there, too.
everybody, right? And
I
they're
agree.
going. The ownership is kind of shitty.
They're
so.
getting cheap, all that. And that's the one thing is, you got to sometimes remember it's sort of like we all have friends that get a divorce. We only hear his side, but we don't know the real story. A lot of times, sometimes these guys become a manager. They have a couple good years and now they're bigger than the team. And you can't have that. I think one thing about Bochy is he always praised everybody else except himself. And that's what made him so great because he led by example.
He was humble.
Yeah, he was very humble. You got to remember a lot of those teams, I always think of Zito. Zito probably was one of the worst baseball contracts of all time, but he won us a title. Without him, we wouldn't have won it. So the money was
2012.
worth it. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where, and you got to remember, Zito, good-looking guy, great family, USC Trojan, stud at the A's, came to the Giants. It didn't work out. But the one thing when you watch all these old Giants specials is he stuck with it. He worked hard. And when he had to step up, you got to remember, in 12, he came up with the two biggest games. He came up a game that they needed during the NLCS. And then, of
St.
course,
Louis.
he started game
Against
one of the World
Verlander.
Series.
Against Verlander. He went up against Verlander, and that's when Pablo had his 3 home run night, man.
And Barry always
how about
says
that?
if it wasn't for that, he would have thought his 5 years was a disaster for the Giants. But, he got us a ring. And that's what's most important. And we bring up the destination. Guys, we got Devers now. I think we bid against ourselves to get Adames because we did it before even the winter meetings. We offered him something that he probably assumed that he got it. So, again, you can always get lucky once we got Adames. Get me another free agent that is here because of Buster and San Francisco being a destination. Then I'll say San Francisco is back as a destination. You can't use Devers because we did it through a trade. Yeah. So until that happens, and you got to remember too, other teams that don't get the ring, the World Series, right? Right now, there's 12 teams that are battling, or I don't even know how many in the playoffs. What, 2, 4? Yeah. So there's 12 teams battling.
Yep.
When only one's going to win it, the other 11 in the playoffs saying we're close. Maybe a manager would take us to that next level. I sort of think of the Warriors. I don't know. I know a lot of people might not be basketball fans, but they had Mark Jackson, and they reached that plateau in the playoffs, 51, 52, 52. They got Steve Kerr. All of a sudden, they won the dance. Sometimes you're just that close. And that's why, it's such a huge – I think Buster – forget about last year. This is his first major decision. This is big. He's going to hire his manager. So, I just hope, we give him a chance and he succeeds. And then, who knows, next year at this time, guys, when we do our preview show, we're all starting to get nervous because the Giants are in one of the games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be happy about that. So
I like it, Lou. Fuji Simeon, $2. Sorry about that. I missed that earlier, Fuji. He sent it about a half hour ago. How about goes my damn? There we go. Am I back? Anyways, I don't want to do another college guy. I should say not another, but a college guy. Considering where the team is, if the team was rebuilding with a bunch of young guys, he could probably relate. I get it. Buster Posey wants to win and win now. So I would say no to Fratelli.
And not just win now, but win consecutively.
He wants consistent. That's what he wants. It's not a flash in the pan, right? Buster Posey wants consistent.
I said to you today, Eric, we got to be more like the LA Dodgers. Think like the Dodgers. It's win the division every freaking year. And the goal is not to make the playoffs.
To win the World Series.
The goal is to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Lou, when you've got how many teams? 30 teams in Major League Baseball? This is like the Canadian Football League. Dude, you got 9 teams. You got 9 teams. 6 of them make the postseason. When you got a third of Major League Baseball, for argument's sake, a third of the teams make the postseason, and we're never there. That's bad.
Have never succeeded, not one year. And you got to remember, this
you
rule went into effect
get
because of us. Literally, the wild card was completely different when the Giants won 102 games and the Atlanta Braves won 103 because Colorado couldn't beat them one goddamn time out of 18. The other thing, too, is not only have we not made it, with the change of the schedule, the Giants are getting a break because we don't have to play the Dodgers 18 times. We don't have to play Arizona 18 or San Diego.
Absolutely.
We're playing some of these other teams, and we're still not capitalizing it.
Absolutely, Lou.
Kershaw Fishing, $2 says Bruce Bochy will be the manager. He left Texas today. He did. We talked about that earlier. Welcome, Kershaw. Good to see you in there. Posey and Bochy will fix the pitching together. We kind of talked about, we don't think that is the right move. Not to say that Bruce Bochy isn't a bad manager. That's not what I'm saying. You gotta go somewhere else. We already had our run with Bruce, right? And he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Let the guy retire. He has a home in Nashville. Let's just let him do what he wants to do. And look,
and
let's
more
go
to that. More to that. When we listened to that press conference today, Eric, didn't you get the sense? And I think he even called it out. He said, "I want a manager who he's deep diving. He's working behind the scenes, not just come out and stand in the dugout." I think I think Bruce Bochy wants to sit back
and relax
and manage. But if he's going to manage, he wants to sit back and manage. He does not want to go to an organization, like Lou said earlier, no bullpen. And he goes, "This is too much freaking work. Like, I want to sit back and manage. I want to take the reins of the horses." We don't have the horses.
And here, let's talk about this before we could start maybe talking about some playoff stuff here. Buster Posey has already said he has a list. He doesn't want to give it up. He's keeping it close to the chest, which is fine.
He has all the cards, Eric.
Right? And here's the thing. Let's put things together. Let's kind of piece it together. When they asked him about Bruce Bochy, he said they don't know what the status of what his status is going to be, because at the time, yeah. So why would he even be on the list if he didn't even know what the Rangers are going to do with Bruce Bochy? So he's not on the list. Bruce Bochy is not on the list. So whoever is close to him, we'll see. Now here, guys, and I talked about this on the breaking live stream that we did earlier. I went to Marty Lurie's movie. It was awesome on Saturday. And who was it in attendance? Well, it was Ron Wotus and Mark Hallberg. Both of them were there together. I saw him walking down the street, and at first I was like, "Hey, I wonder if that's Wotus's son," because he looked young, and I thought maybe that's what it was. Come to find out, it was Mark Hallberg, as they were walking down the street, and they went into the theater, and then I didn't even know who Mark Hallberg was. But yeah, it was awesome to go out there and hear, because Ron Wotus was part of the panel there at the Vogue. So it was awesome. So again, does it mean anything? No. Could it mean anything? Maybe. So
I don't think he's even on that list, because what did I say on the show last night about this manager? I thought that, it wouldn't have surprised me if they didn't make the move, but I thought the move had to be made. And if they were going to make the move, Buster Posey has known that this move he didn't decide this morning. He knew this move.
He knew what he was doing.
He's already shuffling the deck.
I want to know on the list. Hey, Buster, give me a call, man. Come on, throw me a bone, Buster.
Hey, Glenn, I don't know if I can even be on this show with Eric. He's gotten so big. I mean, he's going to these movies.
He's hanging around with the glue.
Hanging out with Marty. At the Vogue. It's just amazing, dude.
Well, he comes back. He comes back during the week and hangs out with the peasants like us.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you something, though. I'm gonna tell you something,
Eric.
Let me do something here. Let me go on a tangent here. I'm gonna tell you something. when I started doing this thing, right, just coming on, talking about the Giants, never in my wildest dreams did I think that it was going to be where it's at this particular time. Where can it go from here? Who knows? But I'm going to tell you something. The experience that I have had has been absolutely incredible. Here I get to talk about my most favorite sport, my most favorite team growing up as a kid. And here I am getting to be able to talk about this. And look at all these great people. If it wasn't for my love of San Francisco Giants baseball, I wouldn't be sitting here meeting up with Glenn, meeting with Lou, meeting with everybody. Whether you're in the chat, whether I've met you in person, the relationships that I have built has been absolutely incredible. And look, I do not take this for granted. I don't. And this is an absolute pleasure to be able to come on here almost nightly, get behind the microphone, and just be able to talk about baseball and have fun. And look at this. I'm working with Marty, which is fantastic. I talked to him for freaking a decade on every weekend during the baseball season. And here I am. I get a chance to talk with him, and I've got a chance to work with Glenn Kuiper. I mean, this is just magical, all because of the love of the game of baseball. And
You're
love
like
it.
George and Wheezy, man. You're moving on up.
Oh, well, come on. I'm still just a dude. I'm still just a guy. I'm
Eric Jefferson.
I would rather Eric Jefferson than Eric Rothberg.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. But it's fun, man. That's what it's about. I don't want the joy to ever leave. This is, to me, and I say this a million times, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, this is not a job to me. This is a passion, and it's a love. And Glenn, you've seen how I've done this. Lou, I've talked to you. You've seen how I love doing this. It's just fun. And when I get a chance to go to baseball games, it's about having fun. I want to sit with some friends who want to talk about baseball and watch some damn baseball.
And we have fun. The few times I've gotten together with you and you've been with Lou and the three of us been together, that's what makes it. It's like a family. It's just like fun.
It's fun. It's awesome,
and you know,
dude.
When you and I got together by happen chance, sort of by happen chance, things fell into place, and we talked about doing this show. Mm-hmm. I never dreamed that, all right, we're going to talk about the Giants, but you know how much of a love I have, like, for tomorrow. I can't wait for tomorrow. And the Giants aren't playing, but I can't wait for tomorrow because it's meaningful baseball. And, I got friends, I've said it on the show before. I got friends who are, dude, stick with WNBA because baseball, it's so slow. It's boring. I go, dude, every pitch. I don't know how you watch it. Man. You watch it I think they look at it as it's just a 9-inning blunt affair. I go, no, it's not 9 innings, and it's not it's pitch by pitch, especially when you hit the postseason. We're going to see pitching to more of the Reds, Dodgers. It's going to be great. Hey, Lou, I know you feel the same way.
Now, I think what's great about baseball playoffs, unlike hockey, unlike anything else, maybe the closest thing would be like the national championship football game where you see fans covering their eyes.
Yes.
Right? Are so like into it. And it's only game 1 of a 7-game series.
Yes.
I remember, when the Giants were against Philadelphia, I was counting down the outs when the Giants took the lead, 8 more outs, 7 more outs. And I thought I was sort of weird, so I was saying it, but there was somebody down the bar doing the same thing. The other thing is, what really was so cool about when the Giants won is the whole city came together. I think one of the favorite things I've seen is when they show City Hall, where they put up the banners, and there's like 25, 30,000 fans watching a road game together, and they're all having the same common. It's just one of those things, but I think, it doesn't matter. As soon as the game's going on, people are like just so caught up, and again, I think also what's so great about baseball is you never know who's going to come through. There's always somebody, like with the Giants, when you looked at it, there was no superstar that came through in our 3 titles. Probably, the biggest would have been Panda, who wasn't even on the roster 2 years before.
Exactly.
Right? You're thinking he's going to get 3. Oh my God. He's the next babe. That's why it happens.
Yep.
You know, you get guys now, again, superstars come through, but there's always someone like, say, Philadelphia. I'm not expecting, you know, they're two big guys to come through. Some guy might get 3 or 4 hits that you go, who is that guy? I've never even heard of him, because you're not a big fan. But that's what makes baseball so unique. Someone's going to get the hit that's going to change their career. And that's what makes baseball so special.
And
on top of that,
and
Eric,
on top of that,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
All
three of us now. All boom.
Yeah. Me and Eric went to the game the other night because I wanted to meet Marty. The Giants were limited, but we had such a great time because we wanted to see the Giants one more time before the season ended, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. We sat there, we were talking, and I think the one thing about baseball is it's all genres. You know, we had, and the only reason why I say this is we had a guy to the left of us that showed up in the 3rd inning, didn't speak English, but baseball, he knew that language. We had 2 kids behind us. One kid probably got 12 balls, and he wanted another one. And Adamas going, dude, I've already given you 2.
And
Baseball
Verlander,
is a
remember
sport.
Verlander?
And Verlander, dude, yeah. So that's what makes baseball, because you watch these games, it's 3 generations watching. It might be someone like Seattle. Seattle's never won it. You know, imagine how crazy that city's going to be, where if they make it to the World Series, it's going to be chaotic. You know what I mean? They never won it. And that's what's so great about baseball, because when you least think, when you think you know, you don't. Because some team, and I know we're going to talk about the playoffs, I don't think it's going to be the Yankees and Dodgers. Some surprise team's going to be there because some guy who maybe just got called up had 2 big doubles, and now all of a sudden it's his 15 minutes of fame, and that's why baseball is the best sport in the world. It's unpredictable,
There you go.
And it never lets you down.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny how you talk about that, Lou, because I tell you what, every time the Giants got into the playoffs, every game I had butterflies in my stomach. Every time, even as an adult, you're just like, oh, what is going to happen today? Because you're in the playoffs. This is where every game matters. It's the sprint. And to your point, who's going to be the hero? Remember, Travis Ishikawa. Where the hell did he come from, right? Who the heck
Wasn't an honor team to begin the year. And he was in the minors.
Right. I mean,
Cody Ross wasn't even on our team.
Exactly.
You know? I mean,
exactly.
It's one of those things. So, and that's
it's
why
awesome.
baseball, it's so beautiful in its own way.
And the beautiful thing about the playoff, real quick, is all it takes is a team to get hot. That's what it is in the playoff, because you got the long 162. Now you got the short sprint of the playoffs. And if the team is getting hot at the right time, you're going to go all the way.
And it's not just about following a winning team or even going to the game like Lou mentioned, just for, to meet up with friends. It's the sports talk. Eric, how many times have I texted you or picked up the phone and called you and I talk about, hey, I just landed a nice 1911, the minor 3-finger Mordecai Brown card.
Mordecai Brown. Look at
or
that.
I just landed the John Titus, the only card in the 1909 to 1911 set where he had a mustache. And I personally, as much as I like ball now, it's that I can watch repetitively over and over and over at nauseum the Ken Burns baseball. You give me anywhere from 1900 to 1925. That 25-year window,
it's amazing.
God, it's beautiful.
The history. Hey, speaking of a beautiful
that's
thing.
Book number 3, by the way. That's
that
book
the
number 3 of his thing.
Wait, where is it? What do we got? Wait, hold on.
Is that the kid getting the balls right there?
Hey, look at that.
I see Lou's head and Eric's hat.
And there's the guy. There's the guy.
Oh, there's the guy to the left of me. Didn't speak English.
Yeah, look at what the hell is that, man? That's so funny.
Lou,
Just
ask and you
top of my
shall
head.
receive.
Oh my God.
I texted you, Eric. I go, Eric, I just saw you on the game. I just saw you.
Gosh.
I said,
Hold
there's
on,
a guy
maybe.
now, and you remember that message, Eric? I text you, go, is there a guy sitting behind you wearing a Detroit Tiger hat? And that San Diego blue, I thought was a Detroit Tiger hat.
And I remember you saying that to Eric. Hey, Glenn saw us. I go, he did? Where? How? And
hey,
that's who's
who's those guys?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Who's those guys? That was freaking awesome, right? Wasn't that awesome?
Eric,
Eric,
hanging
you
out
got
with the
it.
heavies.
Eric, how small of a world it is. Marty's colleague on his show is a friend of mine. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
we
small
didn't even
world.
he didn't even know. Rick Smith, who's a good friend
Yeah.
of Marty, who comes on Marty's show occasionally. Lou knew him.
Yeah.
Lou
And he goes,
knew
"Oh,
him.
I thought that
Didn't
was
even
your
know."
dad's name." That I always see, and I've heard from Marty. And that's what's so great about baseball. It's unbelievable. So
That was so awesome. Hey,
there you go.
Look at that. That's a great photo, by the way.
Look at that
And Bernice
ring, by the way. Hello.
And Bernice sometime, I told Eric one of the shows, did you catch it, Lou? Eric's like, Jesus, Adamas is talking to you. You got a ball from Wilmer? I said, I think they were just like, where the hell did you get that ring?
Yeah.
Because we don't have one. We don't have one.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bernice says,
Oh, yeah,
she
here.
goes, like, look at that. Now I said, she goes, you guys are like 10-year-old boys. I said, yes, we are. Take me around a ballpark. I love
Jay
it.
Case coming through with another big super chat. Jay, man, I tell you what, this guy freaking, he drops him. I appreciate that, Jay. Jay with $25 says, thanks, guys. I thought Posey would fire Melvin after they lost 14 of 16 at home. And that was shortly after he had already extended, or 75. His fate was sealed. I super chatted a week ago that Monday. Sharon would display. I don't know what Sharon would display. Melvin fired. I don't know. You guys, I don't understand what that last part is.
I super chatted a week
Sharon
ago.
would display. Chiron. I don't know what that is. Jay, can you explain that? I want to make sure I get that right.
And we
Melvin
appreciate the donation to the show.
Absolutely, Jay. Chiron. What am I misspelling? Am I mispronunciating? I should say.
I can't even respell. I'm trying to think what it could be, and I'm sure
I'm not sure.
It'll
But,
cost him another $25. Send another one. We'll read it again.
Oh man.
And then, hey, Eric, just so I have a question. When they have the tool to the right of the name, does that mean they're a member? Like it says Jay Chase?
Oh, he's a moderator, so he can give
Moderator,
the
okay.
heave ho. He could give the heave ho.
Thought I asked.
Marco says, "Hey Lou, remember you beefed with me with Dan on NorCal Sports Network on Tuesday for breaking news on the Melvin firing." No, the breaking news was today. I don't understand.
Oh, well, we don't know anything about that because that's
I have no idea, Marcos. I don't
another
know.
channel.
Hey, it's all good.
I don't
It's
know.
all
what
good.
that is.
I mean, I remember the Eldridge call up where that broke like late. That broke on
was it
like
Eldridge?
Hot
Must have been the
Corner.
Eldridge.
Again,
Maybe it was Eldridge.
If you said he was about the firing, maybe it hadn't happened yet. If you were the first, then we'll give you credit. But it didn't happen until this morning. So,
And look, come on,
hey, it happens.
come on, guys. Right? When we're talking baseball, is it nice to go out and do predictions and prognosticate and all this other crap? Yeah, that's fun. It's fun. But in the bigger scheme of things, it means nothing. It's just, hey, this is what I think.
But that's
It
what
may
we're here to
happen.
have fun.
It may not. It may happen. It may not. If it does happen, hey, that's great. That's great. But
Edgar
if it
Martinez. Edgar.
doesn't-
So Eric's getting to hang out with Lou and Marty, and you know who I get to hang out with, Eric. See, I love having fun. Look at that. See, that's the boy right there.
There's Orange Man.
That's my guy. See, that's my
we
kind of
thought
guy.
there was another guy we saw with Eric. We go, do you think that's the guy? And I said, no, this guy's too good looking. We went, oh, there you go. Again, look at that.
Yeah, this guy, man. Yeah.
And that was for opening day, right?
That was opening day. Can you believe that? The home opener, or you should say the home opener.
Yeah.
See me.
I
See you
remember
get
that.
to hang out with the big dog. Me and Orange Man. It's there you go. Glenn's a stud. See, that's my man. Orange. That's Orange Man. That's Orange
How much
Man.
did you pay Glenn for that?
That's
Come on.
That's
Orange.
Eric. That's the chat of the night. You pulled it in.
Oh,
Go
my
back to what you
God.
brought up. What did he say? What did he mean? What did he mean with that?
It's the scrolling info at the bottom of a sports channels with breaking news.
Well,
See,
you
I
learn
never knew that.
something new every day because
Hey, dude, I don't know. Hey, I'm just here on YouTube. I'm not no freaking national sports guy.
Chiron. Did you know that, Lou? No, Lou didn't know.
I comment
Never
on the
heard
show. Got it. Got
But
it.
I learned something. I like it.
Let's go
I
back
see
to
what
the
you're
chat,
saying.
Eric.
Yeah. Oh, how about this? Nostradamus might be on the short list. Hey, maybe Nostradamus SFG prophecies. Maybe he's on the short list.
We never heard from him
potential there.
today, did we?
You never know.
All right, let's talk about it. We've been going for an hour and a half.
Playoff
Let's talk
times,
about
yeah,
what
we
we
gotta
got
talk
tomorrow, Eric. 4 games. Speaking of prognostications,
4 games, man. How
we
about
could be here all
that?
night going over these.
I know. Shit. Which one was the first one? You guys, anyone got the schedule on
Tigers
the
and
phone?
Cleveland.
Tigers and Cleveland. So
Detroit at
hold on.
Cleveland. 10 o'clock our time tomorrow.
Let's bring this up. Hold on. Let me bring up
The
schedule.
joys of being in Winnipeg, 12:08. I get to a little nap in there.
Hey,
let's
Eric?
see, Tuesday. Yes, sir.
Go to the private chat. This is the best because they'll be all on one page.
Yep. Perfect. Oh, okay. I'm kind of almost there right now for the.
Yeah. So it's National League, American League on one page. So this way we can go with our predictions.
Sounds good. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Oh, damn. I didn't want to do that. Hold on. I wanted to open up in a new tab. There we go. There it is. Cool. All right. Before we get there, let's do this real quick. Because I got it. I already had the ESPN going here. Here we go. The matchups, right? ABC. That's a weird one, though, isn't it? A little weird for the ABCs covering a playoff game. So Detroit versus Cleveland. Tariq Skubal against Gavin Williams. I guess he's having a good year. So, well, there you go.
I think
3
he's a
area,
strikeout guy too. I think he can. I think he's a good strikeout guy.
So let's talk
And
about
by-
this first game with the pitching matchup. I mean, I'm going with Detroit.
I
What about-
mean, you never know in a short series, Eric. But the wise man would have to go Detroit with Skubal.
Right, and you're playing at Cleveland, so that does help a little bit. Remember, these two faced off in the CS, right? No, the DS. They faced off in the DS.
Yeah,
Right.
but you remember, and Cleveland got lucky. You're not going to see Noel. Who the hell was Noel stepping up to the plate with a long ball?
And how about this one? Class A was Assay last year. Remember, he sucked in the postseason. Class A did not show up in the postseason last year.
Well, he won't pitch badly this year, Eric.
Yeah, you ain't got to worry about it. Lou, what do you think? Detroit, Cleveland?
You know, I think it's because Detroit sort of has their own money. I'm trying to think of the right terminology. Detroit played so bad. Cleveland played so hot.
Yes.
You got to remember now, everything's behind you. It's a brand new season. And when you have probably the number one or second best pitcher in baseball, that's a huge advantage because most of the games in the playoffs are like 3-2, 2-1. So Detroit now gets their second life. They're pitching their stud, who has been a stud all season. And I think it's a huge advantage when, you get him. And again, the way the schedule works, it's sort of unique. If you win that first game on the road, you have such an advantage because you still are going to have another home game. You know what I mean? Where you have the stud. Now, if Cleveland beats Detroit, then they're going to win 2-1. Because remember, these are only best out of 3. The next round goes 3 out of 5.
You're right. Best of 3. So it's that first game is key. And look, Tariq, he freaking shined in the postseason last year. And he had a fantastic regular season this year. So I'm going to say Detroit. I think we're all on agreement. Detroit for the first game.
I'll go Cleveland.
You're going. Look at you, Mr.
Go.
Contrarian.
I'm going to go Cleveland, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
What you got? Let me hear it. Look, because I was going to move on to the next one. Why do you?
Well, I don't want to blow it. I'm going to just take all the home teams.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I got everybody at home.
So San Diego at Chicago. Nick Pivetta, who's a strikeout guy as well, against Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd had a pretty good season. Hey, the game that we went to, us 3, along with Dan. Matt Boyd pitched for the Cubs, and the Giants were able to beat them.
I hope that's not a sad tale of the tape for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do in high school when I used to do my picks. Well, if Chicago could beat, if the Giants could beat Chicago, that means they can lose to San Diego.
Are you worried that it's a lefty goal? Because you got Machado, you got Tatis, you got Bogarts. Are you worried about that at all?
I just think Chicago at home.
I like Chicago.
Matthew Boyd's first ever playoff game.
Ooh, see, this could be a little
It's a
weird.
big
And Eric,
difference.
it's on ABC, Eric.
Yeah, and this reminds me. Remember how growing up when they used to have the games?
I was
on,
just going to say that to Lou.
growing up where they'd
Remember?
have the games on NBC. I don't even know
Yep.
if was ESPN even doing baseball back then. It was so unique because I mean I literally snuck in a TV and a radio into my high school because I was so into the games. Like Chicago played San Diego, and you know what's great about this? Great rivalry. You know, back in the early '80s, San Diego with Garvey, you know, Kennedy and catcher, and Chicago. You know, this was probably one of the most dramatic series of all time. You know, when Chicago went back and forth with Garvey, you know, with his fist. But I'm just saying, I think it's great that Chicago's back in it. So,
All right.
Lou, I didn't have the big satellite dish. I only had 2 channels growing up, and one of them was
Galaxy. The Galaxy.
I had the big Paraclips. It would move around. ABC weren't they the home of Monday Night Baseball?
yeah, they were. They did Monday Night Baseball. And they did the World Series probably for 5 or 6 years. And then NBC started doing it because NBC always had the game of the week on Saturday that they would do after the Twib Notes, This Week in Baseball, and the Baseball Bunch. And then,
the Baseball Bunch. Oh, I used to love watching that, man.
Yeah. And then NBC would do it, you know, with Joe Garagiola and the gang. But, you know, ABC would always do the World Series because remember, it was all part of worldwide sports, you know.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, you would see Howard Cosell,
yeah,
you know, and then again, ABC would always do more of the primetime games. And then someone like maybe TNT or would do, you know, the morning games. But this one, obviously, having 4 in one day, I mean, it's sort of like old school baseball. And, you know, except for March Madness, I can't remember where you have a sporting event because even like World Cup soccer, because the time difference, they don't do it like this. You know what I mean? So it's a special day, and we're going to be getting it Tuesday and Wednesday.
Who needs Warner Wolf? Who needs Warner Wolf? We got it on ABC tomorrow.
Yeah.
There you go. But I like Chicago too. I kind of like Chicago. They've had a good run. It's go time, as they say. So let's see what Chicago. I would like to see Chicago go.
And Chicago really hasn't had pressure because Milwaukee was so far ahead.
Yes.
They might be lined up for it a little bit better. And, you know,
it'll
be rocking. Now, again, I don't know how the weather's going to be because that's and I assume these are Eastern times.
No, these are local.
I know these are West times. So they'll be 2 o'clock in Chicago. You know, the wind could be blowing out. You know, that's one thing about the friendly confines. The wind really is a determining factor in these games where if it's blowing in, then, you know, it's going to be a low-scoring game. If it's blowing out, you know, who knows? It could be 14-12.
Who do you think wins that one? Who wins that first game there, Lou? You think Chicago?
San Diego? I think for some reason, in the back of my mind, you got to remember last year, San Diego, everyone talks about San Diego when they were up 2-1 against the Dodgers and they choked. I know. But San Diego had a lot of pressure. This is a year. Nobody's talking about San Diego at all. Nobody's talking about maybe after what happened last year, they're going to come in under, you know, nobody's talking about. And then if they win this series, I think they're probably going to be favored over the Brewers because they've been there before. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, I'm going to support, you know, even though my corporate's in Wisconsin, we have an office in Chicago. You know, I think San Diego's a fun team to watch.
Nice.
So
okay.
I'm gonna root for San Diego to win that series. You know, support the NL West.
Okay, that's fair. I can get it. I can get behind that. I'll tell you what, the next game is going to be the series. This is going to be the Red Sox and the Yankees, man. Tell you what, this one's going to be special, and it's going to be a gunslinger. Crochet versus Freed. Woo!
When was the last time they met? Was it 2000? Well, I guess Justin would know. 2009, maybe? Postseason?
Yeah. Justin, when's the last time the Red Sox and the Yankees met up? I tell you what, this one is going to be fun. As they say, it's going to be a Donnybrocker, right? Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch this one. In New York, I'm really looking forward to watching that game.
If there's any game there could be a rumble, that is the game.
That is the game there could be a rumble.
And I think this year, what is it, like 8-4 or 9-3, Boston over New York? But again, it means nothing. That was regular season.
Yes.
You know, we talked about Devers when New York went to Boston, they swept them. When Devers hit the homer on that Saturday, they swept them. And then, of course, the trade happened. So Boston's had the number. But again, this is why pitching, and if you talk about last year, Max Fried's contract, this is why they signed him for games like this.
Yes, exactly. That's why you get paid. I don't know who wins this game. Boston has been on fire, but like you said, you could throw all that out now. This is the postseason. Okay, and we could go with this. Who has that playoff experience, Boston or New York? Well, New York. They just were in the World Series last year, and pretty much every single guy that's on that team was on during the playoffs last year. So I would give the edge to the Yankees. Sorry, Justin. Sorry,
and
Justin,
the pressure's all on New York, especially if the Mets
yes.
are eliminated. You know, it's going to be. But you know what? That's
we're going to
what
have to tune in to Big Nick Turturro on Twitter.
Oh, he's the best.
Guys,
Dude,
he's
the
you
best.
Guys, if you're not following on Twitter, Big Nick Turturro on Twitter or X, the guy is phenomenal. A rabid New York
dude.
Yankees.
I met him.
You met him?
I've met him.
Or did you meet his brother?
No, I met him. I met him at a who were we playing? The Albany River Rats. He was in Albany, New York. He's a New Yorker. He's from New York State.
Yeah.
And
he lives in Southern Cal.
He'll be rocking it out unless he,
dude,
he has had opportunity throughout the years, Eric, to destroy a computer or two along the way.
Yes. Oh, when the Yankees quote unquote shit the bed, he loses his mind. It's hilarious. It's great. Now, this is the last series. Can Cincinnati upset the Dodgers?
Not a chance.
Don't think so? What about Hunter Green? You don't think Hunter Green could beat Blake Snell?
That would fly against my philosophy, Eric. How can Cincinnati beat them if LA is going to win the World Series?
Come on.
They're going to win the World Series. Dude, they ramped it up throughout the year.
They did.
Last year they had no pitching and won the World Series. My philosophy is this year
the
pitching's a little bit with a different pitch, and they're going to have.
But here's the problem:
everybody said they got no pitching, no bullpen. They're going to be rocking, Eric. Roki Sasaki out of the bullpen. That is going to be big. But this is the first time he reminds me of the Freak, though. Remember we brought the Freak out, and look what he did. So don't say it can't be done.
Yeah, but the problem is this is his rookie year, and this is high pressure. This is a little bit different than just going out there playing 162.
It's not a one-man show there. You can have a falter of sorts, and you can still.
I think the Dodgers win the series, but I think tomorrow, Hunter Green could get it done because after.
Let me ask you this, Eric. Even with Hunter Green pitching tomorrow, I mean, do you think Cincinnati can? I heard take today, and it is my take on MLB Network. Can Cincinnati Reds enter tomorrow's game knowing we might have to score 12 runs to win? I don't think they can.
Yeah, I hear you. Blake Snell, what's he doing? Whew, I tell you what.
Because the Dodgers, I don't care who you're pitching against them in the postseason, they're going to be okay. They're going to get their runs.
You think?
I think they're going to. Dude, I got them winning the World Series.
Okay.
The one I'm really worried about the Dodgers is their bullpen.
Yeah, they don't have
a lot of these games might be low scoring because, hey, you're going to have two good starting pitchers. But when it comes late, I'm not even sure who the bullpen for the Dodgers are. I think, that's the one thing about the two heavyweights, the Yankees and the Dodgers. Their bullpens are probably the worst out of all the playoff teams. So, when you get playoffs where they're low scoring, and I agree with Glenn, hey, the Dodgers are going to score their runs. But, you got to also think, hey, Hunter Green might hold them down to maybe 3, maybe 4. These games usually are close, 5th, 6th inning. If you don't have a bullpen, it doesn't matter how many runs you score. So
that's a good point and that's the thing. We've seen it time and time again. You don't have a bullpen in the playoffs, boy, you're in for you're in some for hurting.
Let's get out the pennants, Eric.
What's that?
Let's get Caroline Ingalls. She's sewing up with the girls, sewing up the pennants. Get them ready.
Yeah.
Who wins the pennants and who wins the World Series? You start. Okay, maybe not. Lou, you start.
Hold on. I got to think about this. For the NL, I'm going to say Philadelphia wins the pennant. American League? Whew. I'm going to say Seattle. I think Seattle might get it done with the pennant. I think they might. Philadelphia versus Seattle in the World Series.
Yeah, I think Philly, because they're missing their starting pitching. You know, their ace. It's tough. I'm just gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say San Diego.
Ooh.
Against God, I really like the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
The only problem with the Blue Jays is starting pitching, but I just have a feeling Seattle, it's a special year up there.
It is.
And I think it's one of those things where there's always that team that this might be their year. I mean, they traded for 2 bats. Remember, they always had the pitching, they just didn't have the bats. Now they have guys like Naylor. They made the trade with Arizona. So I'm gonna say all West Coast, Seattle and San Diego. Get your tickets now.
Oh, and hey, real quick before you get to it, Glenn, you talked about Josh Naylor. How in the hell did he steal 30 freaking bases this year? Can someone talk to me about this? How?
I think he
Kyle
stole more
Schwarber-
than the Giants.
Kyle Schwarber stole 10. Juan Soto stole 30. Josh Naylor stole 30. How? Anyways, Glenn, what say you?
You already know who I've got winning the pennant because they're going to win the World
You got
Series,
the
in my
Dodgers?
opinion, the LA Dodgers. However, bigger than calling out the Blue Jays to make the World Series, my dad is rarely wrong. My dad says they go to the World Series or they don't even get by the first round. They are very much like the San Francisco Giants. Better ball club, make more contact, but they're just not consistent.
Okay.
So don't be surprised if they're in the World Series and lose to the Dodgers, yet don't be surprised if the Blue Jays are dispatched in the first round. I'm telling you.
There you go.
It would happen.
Justin says, can't wait for playoff baseball versus the Yankees. That is our resident Red Sox fan. And I think there's another super chat. It's Fuji Simeon donates $5. Thanks, Fuji. Sad the season is over, but the highlight is forever a short on the channel.
Oh,
The
Jesus
short
Christ.
of Glenn and Chardall, plus the big guy upstairs.
We
Dude,
were just talking about that earlier, weren't we, Eric?
we had
you and
some
I.
good ones. We had some good
Yeah.
ones, man. There is
Lou, you know
no
about
doubt
that one?
I overheard it. In fact, you guys have brought it up not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Many times.
Oh,
All the time.
it was memorable. And
It was
actually,
a
we
good
haven't seen the great Chardall around lately,
No.
which is, apparently you didn't see him on Friday night, Eric. I tore into him
No.
after
Where
the
was
show.
he? Come on.
Oh, I tore into him. I said, he goes, huh? Well, first of all, he came out on the show, and you'll never guess what he said.
You'll never guess. What would Chardall have said? I could not.
When I brought him onto the show, what do you think the first thing he said was, Eric?
Thank you. Hey, I'm short 10 people. I want people to go on my thing and like me. So I
No,
could
he
reach
said-
that plateau. No,
I'm at
okay.
433 subscribers.
I said, bring in Chardall. And Chardall proceeded to say, hi, Glenn, big fan of you and Eric. You and Eric do a great job. I said, well, the word on the street is you think Dan and Lou are the best. Well, Dan and Lou are the best too. I said, yeah, but word on the street also is that Greg's doing a great job. He's the best. Well, he's the best too. I said, well, we all can't be the best. So I really do. And I go, listen, word on the street is also that you did not show up as promised again to meet Eric. He goes, well, I waited for Eric. I waited.
Nah, that's a bunch of crap. I was there at the Willie Mays statue, man. Come
Should I put the
Come
chip clip on my nose? Am I smelling something here?
on.
Difficult times
That's
call for
over.
drastic measures.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway.
Hey, let's go ahead and bring in Justin. He is our resident Red Sox fan. I want to
right,
hear what he
let's
has
do
to say about this. Well, if you guys want to jump in, this is how we'll finish it out. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's bring in Justin. What's up, Justin?
Hey, just
Hey, first of all, I just want to say, Lou, it's nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
I've been watching you guys on High Corner, and you guys have been doing such a fantastic job. And I've told Eric and Glenn this, but Lou, I'm going to tell you this. I found Eric, these guys when Devers got traded from my team to your team. So
There you go.
And Justin, I have to ask, being a Red
Yeah.
Sox fan, were you happy
Yeah.
with the trade? Because I know a lot of guys in Boston said, who are these clowns that we got? But now that you guys have succeeded and had a good record and are in the playoffs, are people still talking about the trade? Or is it more, hey, we're a playoff team. We don't have that big contract. We didn't need him to begin with, and we're glad he's gone. Because, it's people talk about Philly fans being tough. I think Boston fans are pretty tough too, because I don't know if you know, being from there, you guys are so spoiled with the Celtics, their championships, the Red Sox. Even you guys never even heard of Joe Montana. You think Tom Brady's the GOAT. So you guys have been so spoiled, sometimes it's one of those things where you guys are upset, but now you guys are sort of laughing all the way to the bank. You don't have the big contract.
Hey,
you don't have Devers, and you're in the playoffs.
Hey, we just take what we get here. You're right. We are spoiled, but we've had our. I know people are come at me and say like, well, this guy has seen titles. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We've seen ups and downs with the Celtics when we trade away Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to the Brooklyn Nets, but like years after we won that championship. So
you had Larry Bird. That's all I need to say. I mean, you had
we
Bird.
did.
I mean, nothing else matters.
As far as the trade goes, Lou, I'm going to be completely honest with you. People have forgotten about Rafael Devers. People have forgiven the Red Sox for trading away Rafael Devers because we've had guys like Roman Anthony and shoot, I'm trying to figure out the other.
And then Justin, you bring up Roman Anthony, who you
Yeah.
guys signed to a big contract, who I think he only played 70 games. And
70
that's why
games, yeah, and
I
he
bring
went
up
down with
Eldridge.
injury.
They both had such a high ceiling. One guy has been successful. They've signed him up. Eldridge, we're still not sure. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think with Boston, you guys played it the right way. And again, here's the funny part. You signed him. He was successful, and then he got hurt. And that's really where Boston sort of went down. But, I think one of the things about you guys is I love your manager. You're young, and it's like egos are outside the door, and you're all playing for one common goal. And, a lot of people all talk about the Yankees, but you guys have dominated them this year.
We
them. So
we're 9 and we ended the season 9-4 against them. And look, I will say that the thing I loved about Cora was he went out to go get Crochet, he went out to go get Chapman, and he went out to go get Bregman. And look, I know I'm picking the Yankees. No, I know I'm picking my Red Sox to beat the Yankees. That's because I told Glenn about this last Friday when I was on the show. I feel more comfortable beating the Yankees. I don't feel comfortable beating the Blue Jays. So
they have your number. You guys should feel comfortable. You're 9-4 against them this year. It was sort of funny. I told people when Devers, you guys swept the 4-game series at Fenway. Remember they had a rain out, so it was a doubleheater, and then the trade happened. And people are like, "What do you mean?" People, and the problem is we're on the West Coast, so we don't really follow, Boston, New York like that. Us, it's more, us and the Dodgers. But I think you guys, and the other good thing about you guys, it's only a 3-game series. And you got to remember, the Yankees have won 10 straight because they had to. Now that means nothing. You guys get game 1. Again, in a short series, I think you guys have the advantage because all the pressure's on the Yankees. All the pressure.
Well, obviously, you win the first game. You're in the driver's seat if you win game 1. But I think a big thing, too, did you look at the pitching matchups for Thursday? If that goes the duration, who the hell is Schittler? You got Schlittler. He's 4-3.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
is
there
this
and
is
then
this the best the Yankees got?
there's a rumor going around that Kyle Harrison's going to pitch Game 3 because Lucas Giolito has elbow issues going in, so he's off the wild card roster. But our rotation going for the first 2 games is Crochet and Bayo.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Rodon goes on Wednesday, and then Schlittler. Oh my God, have the Yankees got problems like us, Lou?
So I will say this. I think this goes 3. We're gonna split
Daryl
the first 2 games. We're gonna split the first 2 games because Rodon's dominated us and Crochet's dominated the Yankees. I want to see what team shows up in Game 3.
Let's enjoy it. I look forward to it. Good luck. Good luck with your Red Sox.
Hey, by the way, before we let you go, Justin, I gotta ask you: do you ever go to the beach, like up like Hamptons area, or like do you ever go to the beach?
Ooh. Well, I live in Ipswich. The closest beach to me is Cranes Beach.
Yeah, I'm just asking because I have never. You certainly don't get a sunburn on that schnoz of yours because I have never seen a hat. I've never seen a hat with a bill. I mean, my God, look how wide that bill is. You notice, Eric? I see people wear those hats. They come out for like 2 feet. That's what it looks. Well, put the hat back on, Justin. Put the hat back on.
Nice. Oh,
but
so
I'm just
Harrison's
saying, look
gonna
at
go
that.
Game 3. Okay.
That looks like a big bill on that hat. Anyway,
Yeah.
good luck.
So
Good
Eric,
luck
I was
baseball,
telling
buddy.
these guys, Lucas Giolito has an elbow issue, and Cora came out today saying like he's off the wild card roster. So if we get to Game 3, it'll probably be Harrison because it's Crochet, Bayo, and then possibly Harrison.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you okay with Harrison going Game 3?
Yeah, because this Schlittler guy, I don't trust.
Daryl Schlittler.
Yeah.
What'd you call me?
Eric? What do you got going?
Pumpkin. A pumpkin cookie with white chocolate.
There you
But
go.
yeah, Eric, I'm not mad with you picking the Yankees. I'm honestly not. I did while you were at the game Friday, I did tell Glenn that if we had faced the Yankees, I'm comfortable with them because we have their number. But if we get to Toronto, that's where I'm going to pick against the Red Sox because they have our number, and I don't feel comfortable with Toronto.
Come on. You never pick against your own team.
Look, I'm not. Look, I want
Unless
us
you're
to
in
win.
Vegas.
I want us to
Lou and
win,
I.
but Toronto's got the better lineup than us.
Should I do that again this year, Eric? I had a hell of a financial run last year in the postseason.
You did. I remember you telling me about that.
I made over in about what it was a month. I made $3,000, man. I was cooking. I was doing parlays every night. I said, Eric, got two more, and I missed my big ticket. The Giants had to win 79, and I would have cashed my big ticket. So I blew that one. Eric, Lou and I are heading to Vegas tomorrow.
There you go. Hey,
Lou,
Aaron,
I got a question for you.
Real quick, Justin. Aaron,
With the Bellagio.
Lou needs some cookies, man. He was telling we were at the game, and he's like, man, Aaron hasn't sent me any cookies. You got to send Lou some damn cookies. Come on, Aaron.
Especially for Halloween, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't eat all the crap candy. I'd rather eat the cookies. And it's getting cold. You know, nothing better than a little hot chocolate and those fantastic cookies. What's up, buddy? And hey, again, I'm a AAA member, so if I can get my discount, I'm good.
There you go. Glenn is parlaying for Pepsi in the back alley. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Ibram. I love that.
Dude,
That's
when I was
awesome.
in Vegas, if you want to win, you got to drink the Pepsi. Stay off the other stuff because it can get out of control. Nothing like getting liquored up and chasing your losses. Let me tell you.
So, Lou, I have a question for
Lou?
you.
All right.
Go ahead, Justin.
So, in your honest opinion, because I love when you give opinions, no matter what people say on the internet. I love your opinions on all this. Let's say that Verlander does not come back to the Giants. Who who do you think the Giants should get to, be behind Logan Webb and Robbie Ray in that San Francisco Giants rotation?
Well, I think the one thing about Robbie Ray, because he only has 1 year left on his contract, and I don't think the Giants are going to sign him because he's probably going to want 4 or 5 years. I think Ray might get traded. So that sort of opens up a whole can of worms. I also don't know the Giants' situation with their young guys. The other thing is this year, to tell you the truth, except for maybe a few guys, I think it's the worst, and I mean the worst free agent class I've ever seen in probably 20 years. There's really no standout. And I think they're at a point where, the Giants, either they're going to have to trade some of the young guys like an Eldridge, Ray, and try to get pitching. Boy, that's a tough question. I could see them trading. The problem is if we make a trade and we get someone like a Joe Ryan from Minnesota, I'm not a big fan of his. I think he's more of a filler. There's really no standout. I mean, if I was Buster, I would do whatever it takes to get someone like Schemes because you can always buy other pitchers. He's a once in a lifetime guy. I would trade for my young guys, trade Ray, and do whatever I can. But, that's, again, I'm dreaming. But they'll probably – the problem with the Giants, and again, this has been the last 5 years, we get guys that were either great really early and we're hoping we can bring it back, or, again, like Rodon, who's pitching against you guys on Wednesday. We only got him because he had shoulder surgery the year before that we picked him up. And, I'm sort of sick and tired of getting these guys that are either off surgery or off Tommy John, where there's so many question marks. So I think it's, I just don't know. I mean, look at our DH this year. Okay. We got him from the Mexican League. I mean, are you kidding me? That's, I would never even, first of all, I didn't even know the Mexican League really existed because in the major leagues, that's the starting scene. Tolbert, is that you? Or you got called in the Mexican League. I just think, and I'm sick and tired of all these retreads. I would have to see who the free agency is. The other thing, too, is it's a lot harder. Like, people say, let's sign, Suarez. There's probably going to be 8 teams that want Suarez.
There is going to be. Same thing with Valdez.
You're going to have to sign. And again, to get the Giants, the only advantage they have with our ballpark is pitchers like it. But you're still going to have to spend the money. And with the Giants already having really 4 fat contracts, do you want to have another one? Then don't trade Ray and just sign him. You know what I mean? So, I'd like to give you an answer. I just don't know who really is available.
That's fine. No, that's
if
fine.
That's all right. Just because I think there's so many question marks. On the hot corner, I said last night, I think out of the 26-man roster, they probably got to change between 12 and 16 of them because I don't want these mediocre guys because we bring back mediocres, we're going to be at 500 again. Then why did we get rid of Melvin? And, we need guys we need sort of the studs, and I think that's the biggest problem. We don't have guys that can hit in the clutch. We don't have the studs. And I think pitching right now, starting pitching, I think we'll get by, but I think our bullpen is in worse shape.
Oh,
so
100%.
I think, we definitely need, even if we were to get someone like who's the guy for Chapman, the pitcher, even though he's 34, 35, you got to get someone that's reliable. We don't have anyone reliable. So I'd rather, instead of a starting pitching, I'd get, because right now, if you ask me, who do I really want back or who's our stopper? There is nobody on our team. We just have a question marks after question.
We don't have a closer. We have no closer.
We have a closer that people hate, who's unreliable. So we don't have a closer. And then our other guy with Tommy John, he's not going to be back for 2 years. So it's a big problem. So I think maybe for starting, I think we really need a stopper. And don't be surprised if maybe they bring one of the guys back that they traded, because I think we need a guy for the 7th and 8th. I think Glenn brought up a great point. We had the best 8th inning guy in the league. Now, I know we traded him and we got a lot, but we had no one to step in his shoes. So now instead of people having assignments 6th, 7th, 8th inning, we didn't have an 8th inning guy. We didn't have a 9th inning guy. We're bringing guys up like Beck and other people that probably shouldn't even be on her team. So, instead of a starting pitching, give me 2 solid arms. Because that's why, San Diego right now, nobody's talking. Last year was all, my God, look at their bullpen. Well, they got a better bullpen this year than last year. Maybe their starting pitching isn't as good, and I think that's why they're always going to be ahead of us, because they just, they have a better lineup and they have better bullpen. I mean, you got to remember, you get to the 5th or 6th inning, it's over there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, again, I would love to get Suarez, but why would San Diego not want him? Especially if they win.
Well, the thing is he can opt out.
Yeah,
I
Same thing
agree.
with Edwin Diaz. How about do this? How about you just go drop the freaking bank on Robert Suarez, Edwin Diaz, and trade for freaking Devin Williams? Why not make a super bullpen, right?
And
To your
Lou,
point,
you brought up
Sort of like Kansas City was against us. You remember when we beat them?
Oh my God!
Or the Nasty Boys for the Reds.
Or the Nasty
Lou,
Boys.
you brought up 2 great names. Aroldis Chapman.
You guys extended him.
Yeah, we extended him, so he's not leaving Boston. But if you guys did go get Paul Skeens, once Paul Skeen comes here, so does Livy Dunn.
But I don't. There's no way Pittsburgh's giving up on him.
But hey, guys,
The problem is they only have him 1 more year, and then they're going to have to pay him.
Then they're gonna have to. Then they'll trade him. Next year is gonna be the year they.
Oh yeah. But hey, guys, thank you for having me on, Lou. Again, it was nice to meet you, buddy.
And good luck. And I'm sorry about your Celtics. It's going to be a tough year for you guys, but
Hey, you know what? I'm not picking us to win it all this year for the Celtics. It's gonna be a tough year without Tatum, but
as long as the Knicks or the Sixers don't do anything, you'll be fine.
Oh my God, yes.
All right. I understand.
All right, Justin, have a good one, buddy.
You
Thanks,
too. See you
Justin.
later,
Good
guys.
luck tomorrow.
All
See you,
right,
Justin.
there was Justin. Awesome.
Now, are you sure he's from Boston with that accent?
Yeah.
Are you sure? No, I'm kidding. No, Bostonians have that accent. It's sort of amazing.
They have it. They have it. Fuji, $5. Glenn, your conversation with Chardon on Saturday reminded me of when a kid is getting interrogated by their folks when they're in trouble.
Oh, Eric, I called him out. I called him out on it, Eric.
Nice.
Oh, I reprimanded him. I said, you cannot continue. I said, this started on Christmas Eve.
Thanks, Fuji.
I said, you're a recidivist. You keep failing us.
Recidivist. You busted out recidivist. What is going on?
He did not have a clue. He did. And the louder I got, okay,
The quieter.
I got to go now. I scared him away.
Oh my gosh. But
I
yeah,
don't
I
put
tell
up
you,
with Chardon anymore.
this offseason is going to be one for the ages because look, you got to get a manager. You got to put together a team. Oh man, this is going to be something to watch as a San Francisco Giants fan.
You guys picked a good year to get your show going for year 2, huh? You're going to be very active nightly.
It is. Oh, it is.
Dude,
I mean,
last year was incredible.
I'm waiting to bust out this bad boy.
Yeah, we're going to take a spin around the Bay Area.
Aldenova? No? Okay.
Life is a fantasy.
We'll see.
That should be our chat's theme. Life is just a fantasy.
Oh man, I can't bet. It's so much fun. I'll put together some damn hype videos, whatever that will be. We'll see. But
and it gets busy. I'm telling you, Lou. Not a word of lie, Eric. We had about a 2-week span last year. We were hitting we had 800 new subscribers in about 10 days.
Yeah,
people come in from all over baseball.
Let's not forget we got guys off. Pete Alonso is now going back on the market, so you're going to see him out there along with all the pitching. You got Bo Bichette. As far as pitching position players, not much. Oh, Josh Naylor, he's going to be a free agent.
Well, there's your base stealer anyway.
Yep.
Speaking of base stealers, man about town.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? Hey, Luke.
Hey, Rob. What's up, buddy?
What's up,
I
buddy?
just wanted to say it was great meeting you at that night with the Cubs, man. It's real great to meet Giant fans, and you had great seats to share with the boys.
Of course.
I just got off the phone not too long ago. I was telling Eric I talked to Bochy's brother.
We got breaking news?
Uh
No,
oh.
not yet, but I talked to Bochy's brother, and he's gonna let it settle for a little bit. But I think there's something brewing, either in the Texas office or he might come down to be in San Francisco where his heart was before. I mean,
You think he
you
would?
saw what you saw. I mean, they could go somewhere else, but I think for him to be back with Buster to teach somebody younger to how to manage a team, I think, or to point them in the right direction for a year, let's say. Who knows, but I mean, I was talking to him and I said it would be perfect for Buster Posey to interact with Bochy to get him involved in all the surroundings that we need. Even though that he's passed, but just so a guy like a younger guy can reallocate to these to our team.
Now you talking more as an advisor
back
or more as the
more as
manager
an
itself?
advisor, like more as
Yeah,
an
I
advisor.
could see him being an advisor, being more part of the Giants organization. I mean,
Just
he
because-
deserves it.
Yeah, just because we lost. I mean, I don't think he had trouble. He would not have left the Giants if we had the other guy. He wanted his own system in there. And I think Buster understands, and Wotus might be able to lead this team, but it'd be nice to have Bochy in the office type thing or in the dugout to help him.
We're putting the band back together.
Yeah,
That
why
frightens
not?
me.
Why not?
I don't want to be singing. I don't want to be singing no Tony Bennett. I left my heart in San
I
know.
need
Francisco.
Whoever it is,
I
this
need
year.
you. Woo!
mean-
I love that movie.
I have a connection too with my junior college coach is good friends with Pat Burrell, even though that he's probably not going to be back. But we talk and he said, yeah, the hitting just like really the analytic part just really screws people up if you don't know how to run it right.
Robbie, I got to tip my hat to you. I don't know of too many
Absolutely.
guys who are more of a freaking fan and a man about town than you. I mean,
Well, I'll be at that press conference.
I know you will.
Someone's back. I'll try to be.
I mean, when you went back to fantasy and look at his roster, he had every freaking Giant. He had every freaking Giant at least for one game, Eric. One game, and then he waived them. He reminds me of Farhan.
I mean, it's going to be a.
He did. And then one day he calls me, he goes, I'll trade you Wilmer. And I'm like, all right, let me get back to you. And I call him the next day. No, I decided I'm not going to trade Wilmer now. I'm like, oh, you killed me, Robert. And it was when you teamed up with Dan. I didn't like that. I was kind of.
You're probably right about someone else is going to change. Yeah, we need a change, but I think with the Giants now, they need some direction of going forward. They always stand in the middle, like you guys say, but they're not getting that right push because no one in that office right now, besides Buster, is learning it. But there's no one to push the manager to say, "Hey, we got to go." Because you look at that stretch that Bob Melvin had, there was no way that they were going to go to the playoffs. They lost. The team lost him. You can tell.
All right, Robbie DeVille coming in hot.
I'm just saying because I know body language with those guys. I mean,
look at Rob.
Ooh, classic Queen body language.
Look at that.
But on the other hand, it's playoff baseball now. We got to just root for the teams that knock out the Dodgers.
There you go. I'm a Cincinnati
Snell's
Reds
going to
fan.
probably pitch 3 innings tomorrow and have it.
Yeah. We'll see what Blake Snell does in a post.
2
We'll
innings
see when he
max.
gets in.
2 innings max.
You think so, huh?
Well,
look at that.
Being
wild.
Hey, Robert, were you down in San Jose when they won the title?
Oh yeah.
How was that celebration? Pretty cool.
Guys, yeah, it was good. It was good. Those young guys. See, we got young talent in this farm system that can build and that can be traded if they need to be trade bait. But you're not going to trade somebody if we're going to get a guy. If we're going to get a guy that's not worth it.
Agreed. I
Okay.
agree.
In San Jose,
I
yeah,
was
because
talking
if you're playing in San Jose, you're talking about 3-4 years out, somewhere around there, right?
Well,
Three,
I
at
mean,
three.
now they're probably gonna go from San Jose. They're probably gonna go to Eugene now.
A lot of them are going to go to Eugene for next year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I see all those scout. I see all the scout. I'm popular. I talk to all those guys. All those guys know me. Most of them, Eric and Lou and all them. But
Robert, man.
I get good info because I see baseball, but I know what you guys mean about they need some. It's a culture change that's probably gonna have to happen, and who knows? I mean, we just need somebody in there to just push these guys.
There you
Somebody in
go.
hot.
What'd
I tell you, Eric? Robbie
and
Dizzle
a
has an
set
eye
lineup.
for baseball.
He
And a
does.
set lineup every day that says,
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna start here. Let's go. I'm gonna go to bed tonight feeling like I'm gonna start somewhere tomorrow.
Robert. Yes,
Robert.
I.
Perfect.
You're preaching to the choir, but
Yep.
you got to do that. Almost every game you got to have the same lineup going out there. You got to take in, of course, considerations, injuries and such. But yes, come on.
Dodger. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, Robert. Hey,
And-
thanks for popping in for a while, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you on the
Okay,
next
buddy.
one, buddy.
All right, bye.
See you, buddy. Good
All
job
right.
as always. Robbie
Robbie, man, he is-
Dizzle comes in with body language, and we're all here singing "Another One Bites the Dust."
Okay. He talks the scouts, man. He doesn't mess around.
Lou gets it.
Yeah.
Lou gets it.
But
Sometimes I
Robbie's
throw him
awesome.
out there, Lou, and I get it. Oh, okay, yep.
Robbie is awesome, dude. I tell you what, man.
I
He
know.
is like one of our biggest supporters. The guy is freaking. He's all over the place, man. He is all Bay Area
See?
sports.
I know, but did you
Man.
see the chat? Senior says, Lou, you need to get Robbie down to your seats next year. He's practically there. The guy's in like row 5. I said, how the hell did you get those? I know Bochy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's
And
funny? You know who he reminds me of? Opposite of the girl. Shit, I forgot the actor's name, but Bull Durham. I could see him retiring at like, a AA facility and going to every game and giving advice. Who's the one that was married to Tom Robbins in the movie Bull Durham? Where she would connect with a guy every year. Wait a minute, here, I'll tell you. Sarandon. He would be like, I could see him retiring a AA facility, sitting down there with his speed gun, giving advice to all the players. And they're like, what? But it makes sense because, he knows all these guys inside and out.
He does,
And
man.
he's a real fan. Yeah, Susan Sarandon. Thank you, Mark. But,
Yep.
he's a real fan. And, that's why when I heard Buster today for the fans, for someone like Robbie,
In fact, let's find
he
it.
wants to make sure Buster can give a product that you're proud of. And somehow before all of us and guys like Robbie, that we could get one more World Series ring.
Yep. Let's see if I can find this.
Yep.
Let's see if I can find this. Not that one.
Oh, Jesus, you're all
Not that one.
dude. It's like we throw things out into the atmosphere, Eric, and it always comes back at you.
Yeah, there you go. Hold on. Let's do this.
Lou, there's a message for you in the chat here. Where is it? Here it is. That's for Lou.
Oh, there you go.
What is it?
Another surprise appearance. Well, there's only one show.
Oh,
tonight, so
there it
come on.
is. There it is.
And we were just getting ready to go home.
I
Jeez.
know. Here,
They
let's
came
do
in
this. You're
late.
talking about the fans, and again, this kind of alludes to what you were saying, Lou. Let's take a listen again. Courtesy KMBR here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Make sure we pay them homage here. Make sure we source our guys, man.
Do.
Let's do this now. Here we go.
Hey, Buster.
We've got to get back to a place where, we're getting in the playoffs, we're making runs in playoffs, and that's what our fan base deserves. That's what the city deserves. And as I mentioned before, or I don't know if I mentioned it, it's when seasons don't go the way you want them, it's never one person's fault. It's never one group's fault. But when they don't go the way you want them, you can't, in my opinion, can't sit there and say we're going to come back and do the same thing that we did this year for the next year. So, having said that, that's part of why we landed where we landed.
There you go. There you go.
Anything else you want to add there, Buster?
Yeah, right.
Apparently he's not talking to us tonight. So, yeah, there you go.
I like it. Ben Bamboo. Love how Posey has very low tolerance for losing. Agreed.
He reminds me of when you see him on the screen, Eric, and his clean cut and his hairstyle. He looks to me like Freddie Freeman. He looks to me like he could suit up and go out there and play tomorrow. I just want him in the dugout. He could be our manager, Eric.
Yeah, he could. Hey,
Like
maybe.
Frank Robinson did. Frank Robinson.
Yeah, player manager.
Player manager, yeah.
Yep. Now, hey, first time in baseball history, a player manager Pobo.
An owner.
And no. Hey, player manager owner. Why not? All right, hey, let's get the hell out of here, man. This was a fun show. This was a damn fun show.
And then me and the chat are interested. So tomorrow with a game at 10 a.m., which is 1 o'clock lunchtime. Are you guys doing a pregame thing so we can look forward to hearing you guys tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll do a pregame and then we'll pop on. Usually we do it for the first round of the playoffs anyway. We come on after the games.
Come on after the game. So you will see 4 post games tomorrow. 4 post games after each game. Now, when we're in the middle of games, the game's going to be on in the middle of us doing the post game, but that's okay. I'll have the dots up and we'll cover it and we can.
And we get a little pregame.
Yeah, and
pregame in there. I mean, where else do you get more coverage than that?
Yeah.
Where else? Right here, Giant Sports Talk Live. Northern Lights Entertainment Production. And Eric, before you go, make sure you run the sponsors.
Yeah.
Lou texted me last night. He goes, "You guys were forgetting the sponsors." I said, "Yeah, I
all
know.
the time." Hey, as a matter of fact, since you talk about it, let's pay some bills.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, Signatures for Soldiers. Duxwell Printing, for all of your printing needs in the Bay Area. Visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com, for the best credit card choice for you. Visit BetterCreditCards.com, covering the San Francisco Giants nightly. Online, we are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn.
And Lou.
That's pretty nice. You guys got all those in that little quick 45
not too bad,
second thing. Yeah, very nice.
Not too shabby. All right, got another super chat, $2. Justin, love meeting you, Lou. He's awesome. Have a good night, guys. There you go. You got a fan, Lou.
Justin should set up a trip if we go back to Boston next year to see the Giants. We know the schedule. It's an amazing ballpark. Just something to think of.
That's a cathedral.
And then, of course, next year, guys, especially in the chat, Glenn and Eric, since it was mine this year, if there's a special occasion, we'll come up with another squares for another fantastic event for somebody that needs a little assistance.
That would be awesome, Lou, and we appreciate you. Look, you don't have to do that, and you do it, and it's awesome. So yeah,
it makes me feel good, and it's so funny. And then I'll get off. Is I wrote the Giants today, my guy Greg Collier, and I said, "Hey, thank you for the charity help, and thank you for getting my comrades onto the field." And then I wrote Russ Stanley, because I think a lot of times in our business we take too much for granted. Where hey guys, if anyone did anything special for you, always, simple letter. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to say thank you to somebody, because you never know when you might need the favor back. So I just want to bring that up. Just like, hey, I really got to know Eric and Glenn doing Hot Corner. And, last night it was our final Hot Corner, a little sad moment, but, sort of a relief because we don't have to worry about it anymore. But, I thanked Eric and Glenn because, first of all, we have fun. As Eric says, we're talking baseball. And you know what? This is a lot better than working hard. and not
Ain't that
enjoying
the
it.
damn truth?
More like hardly
And,
working.
Yeah. So, and it's the perfect time right now to get baseball because hockey is still a couple weeks away. NBA is still a couple weeks away. The WNBA is done. So really, we're the main thing beside college football. And, locally, the Bay Area teams aren't that good. So, let's have fun. Let's see what we can do. And you never know. There might be someone that we watch during the playoffs that might be a free agent we're not talking about, saying, hey, that might be a Giants fit. You never know. That's why baseball playoffs are great, and I look forward to watching your show tomorrow. And, let's just see some good competitive games, memorable.
I agree. It's going to be fun. A big.
We'll hook up with some old friends, Eric. I'm going to try to get our buddy over in Detroit on. Maybe he'll come on later in the week and talk about that series.
The former PA announcer, right?
Yeah, I've got contacts everywhere, Eric. It's just a matter of I got to reach out to them and
you can
reach
out to
too. When we
Eric, Glenn is such a VIP.
No, man.
He's
look at that.
just, it's like he runs the Canadian market.
No,
it's amazing.
Most people refer to me, Lou, as a very informative prick.
Hey, you gotta
good
find our New York
publicity.
guy.
Good publicity like that means people are caring.
Yeah,
as we do it. But no, guys. Hey, I really appreciate tonight filling in. A lot of fun. Boy, real quick. When you're having a good time, 2 hours and 15 minutes flies by.
It does.
It
does.
So
when you're having a good
forward to the
conversation
playoffs tomorrow.
It doesn't feel like it's like, oh my God. It's like, wow, we've gone 2 hours and 16 minutes, 17 minutes. It's unbelievable.
But may I also add, Lou, that if you do this game long enough, come November, December, January, 2 hours and 15 minutes seems like our 12-hour show.
Yeah.
Same thing every night, the same chardol, and you get the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
I'm out of here, boys.
Let's get out of here, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Glenn, Eric, thank you guys. Chat, without you, we don't have a show. Thank you, chat.
That's a fact. Remember, tomorrow, all-day baseball, playoff baseball. Let's go.
And 5 doses of Eric and Glenn.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.